What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there in the baby blue is your girl Adara, and I'm wearing black, so whatever. How are you? Good morning.
I am good, and don't sell yourself so short with the black. You know, Men in Black here.
Very good call.
Iconic movie. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, no, I like the polo.
Thank you.
And I know you are in some trades.
I am. I flattened them out because I have to do the lesson. So, but we'll talk about them. Let's do though the roll call, the Katina patented roll call. We got Chase Bands. We got 4 lat spread. I see you, Sofa Monster. I see you, Andrew, Tanner, Braun, Trader Drew. We got LA. We got Hold My Beer, Shannon Queenie. I see you, girl. Easy. We got Trinity. We got Pillsbury, Benson, Big Kyle Burdett. What's up, my man? Pitchbull. We got Marcelino. We got Arsenal Adam, baby. ND Trade. Sebastian Dam. Solo Crystal. We got Deuce X. And then Kevin Mendoza. What is up, my friend? I hope everybody had a good morning. I hope you guys are all green. It has been a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit good, a little bit not so good on these markets this morning. We've been doing the dance with no pants in front or on top of 18.4, guys. Hello, guys. We've been doing the dance with no pants in front of 18.4. We've been holding that level. It's precipitated me to get into multiple TQQ trades. We'll get to that in a minute. But I was looking a lot at this stock right here, and it goes by the name of STOK. I know there's a lot of good small cap gappers. We'll get to all of them in short order, but I want to tell you about these two. They go by the tickers STOK and OUST. I mean, if this is, I told Adara, I'm like, look, if somebody tells me that this is not a buy program, I want to take whatever they're taking for my vacation coming up, baby, because I think that would be one hell of a hallucination. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 uninterrupted 5-minute green candles in a row to the high side. Now you're getting a little bit of consolidation at that $7 level. I can see people counting down with me over there. It's 40% to the good in the green. So we'll talk a lot about these OUST, STOK, and there's even IBIO, which is at VWAP right now. So we'll talk a lot about that. But the lesson of the day and all week, guys, we are talking about breakouts. Today specifically, we're going to narrow the topic down to channel breakouts. So let's talk a little about that. So I want you guys to imagine a river flowing between defined banks. In the trading world, price often behaves similarly, carving a channel onto the chart defined by the trend lines. Yeah, it's a little bit long-winded, I'm sorry. But just like a river can burst its banks, price can break out of these channels, signaling potential trend continuations. So let's dive a little bit into the topic, find out exactly what I'm going on about here. So the channel concept, let's define the whole idea of a channel first, and then we'll get into some trades or some trading techniques. So channels are formed by connecting trend lines, obviously, that touch the highs for the upper trend line and touch the lows for the lower trend line. Super easy to do. But in case you're just a newer trader, let me just demonstrate really quickly here. Here's STOK. If I was to widen this out a bit, I could draw an upper channel to touch the highs, and I could draw a lower channel to touch the lows. That's all we're really talking about there. And in this particular case on STOK, it is an upper channel, an upward channel, excuse me. 2 other types, consolidative, which are sideways, and then downward channels. So we only have to worry about 3 different types of channels: upward, consolidative, and downward, okay? So these lines that we just drew on the top of the channel, these lines represent areas of both support and resistance where price tends to bounce back. There are 2 main types of channels, like I just said: upward channel, downward channel, and a consolidative channel. So there are 3. This lesson is wrong, obviously, right? And here is an example. Thank you, Adara, always winning by putting these these slides in. So there you go. You got the upward channel defined by upper trend lines, lower trend lines. Bless you, Katina Min. And you got the downward channel over here. So yeah, very zigzaggy. And then this is one that I was talking about, the consolidative channel, the sideways channel. Yes, this is the Adara Panera trade that we always talk about here. I hate to define you.
No, but, that is the type of trade I like.
Okay, cool. As long as you're good with it.
I'm good with the definition.
All right. So that's exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about channel breakouts. And so we're looking for trades that we can kind of gauge that break out of these upper and lower trend lines and try to capitalize it some way, somehow. So let's talk about the breakout, the actual breakout itself. So a breakout occurs when the price decisively moves through one of the trend lines. This signifies a potential change in the direction of the prevailing trend. Here's the breakdown, okay? So a bullish breakout occurs, and we talked about this, remember bullish breakout and bearish breakout from yesterday? So a bullish breakout occurs. The price closes above the upper trend line of an upward channel. This suggests to you that buyers are overpowering sellers, potentially leading to a continuation of the uptrend. Conversely, a bearish breakout, the price closes below the lower channel, the lower trend line, okay, of a downward channel. This indicates sellers, in this case, are gaining control, hinting at a potential continuation of the downtrend. And here are great examples. Again, thanks to Adara, rising channel here. You're getting defined tops. How many times did we touch the top here? Once, twice, and even, believe it or not, OB thrice, but then you touch it a fourth, and then you break it out on the fifth. To the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I said this to Adara before, and it bears repeating. The more times it touches the upper trend line, the more times it touches the downward trend line. They don't even have to be trend lines. They can be horizontal lines of support and resistance, like we talked about on Monday. The more touches at those levels, the more important the level is. And the wider the time frame you're observing that level, for example, the daily, the weekly, the 4-hour, the more important that level becomes. So two things here. The more touches at the level and the wider the time frame that you're observing it on, and rejections or bounces off that level, the better. You're not talking to me, are you? Okay. And here is an example of a downward channel. And then so you have lower lows, lower highs, you're getting rejections off the top, you're getting bounces off the bottom. That is until this price came in here at 350 on ARLO. No idea what the stock is. But how funny is it that it comes up into what was supposed to be that level of support with the downward channel, and then it actually uses that as resistance, rejecting off that level. And so that goes to the point that I was making yesterday. Extend your trend lines, especially on the wider time frame, the daily, the weekly, the 4-hour. Extend your trend lines as long as your program, your app, will allow you to do it, because you never know when that trend line will come back in to act as support or resistance. So that's a point I want to make there. So false friends, but true signals over here. I don't know why these titles are so dramatic, but that's the way it is. Yeah. False friends, but true signals. Breakouts are valuable signals. There's no doubt about that, but they're not foolproof, guys, right? False breakouts can and do occur when the price briefly touches a trend line, but then reverses the direction awfully quick. Here's how to avoid getting fooled by these false breakouts. Look for volume confirmation to support that move out of the upper trend line and through resistance. So look for a surge in trading volume alongside the break. High volume suggests more conviction behind the price move, making it more likely to be a true breakout. Not foolproof, but puts the odds a little bit more in your favor. And look for price action confirmation. I touched upon this yesterday. Look for the breakout to be on a closing basis above that upper trend line, below that lower trend line on a wider time frame, the daily, the weekly. The wider out the time frame you go, the more confirmation you have, the more I would feel comfortable relying on that level. If I can say I feel comfortable trading, I'm still not there. So yeah, that's the point I want to make there. Look for price action confirmation. It has to be on a closing basis, and the bigger the time frame, like the daily or the weekly, the better. Okay? I'm not saying you can't use it on a smaller time frame, but the better. So, how do we take these trades? So let's talk about taking action on the breakout. So once you've confirmed the breakout, here are some strategies that you can employ for entering and exiting the trade. So firstly, entering the trade, right? Some traders like to enter immediately after the breakouts. Others like to wait for that pullback. So it's that dichotomy that we discussed yesterday about taking the breakout initially or waiting for that breakout to be confirmed and then waiting for the price to pull back to prove to you, yes, that 200 level on Apple is a real deal support level. Once we broke through it, now I'm going to use it. I'm talking about Apple. For some reason, Apple can talk here. Yes, I'm going to use this 200 level as support. It was resistance. So two types of ways you can take this. Take it immediately on the break or wait for that break and for the price to prove to you that that level is important, then wait for the move back down in order to get it. Again, pros and cons with both strategies. I want to keep talking about this. Taking the initial break, obviously you have a higher chance of failure because it could be a false breakout. The good side about that, though, is you get a better price. Waiting, though, for the price to break above 200, for example, on Apple and to come back down, the good side is you prove to yourself, I guess, that the $200 is the real deal. But the bad side about it is you get a worse price because you got to wait for that pullback, and sometimes it doesn't come back into 200. You may get lucky. You may come back right into 200. You may take the long at 200, but chances are you probably won't. Stop loss protection goes without saying, has to be included in every trade. Always use a stop loss order to limit potential losses. For bullish breakouts, place it below the broken trend line, but for bearish breakouts, place it above the broken trend line. So that's what you're looking for there. Okay. Profit targets, again, you have to identify areas of support and resistance in order to know where to wet your beak and take some profits. So for the long, look for another level of resistance above your entry where the price could halt at that level, and then look to take profits there. Save a piece for the dream in case it breaks through that level. For the short, exactly the opposite. You're basically looking for that key level of support below the price where you got in, where the price might bounce, and take profits in front of that level, and then obviously hold a piece for the dream. And here's an excellent example. Thank you, Adara, using TradingView. This is the downward channel, right? Your entry over here at the retest, so you wait for it to break down, right? And then it comes back in, uses the downward channel, not as support this time, as resistance, and that's where you look to get in. Your stop will be above this lower trend line over here. So now the lower trend line is no longer support, right? It's resistance. So you place your stop above resistance, even though it's previously support. So it's a perfect area, perfect example. And then obviously you're looking for this area over here, because that is obviously an area of support. So I would wet my beak at this area around right here, knowing full well there were 3 touches at this area. So chances are prices bounce off these levels. So that's a really good example there. And I want to give you a couple of reminders. Channel breakouts are signals, guys. They're not guarantees. Conduct thorough research, both fundamental and technical, and manage your risk effectively using sound risk management strategies, and never invest more than you can lose. I can't believe I have to remind people about this, but don't borrow money to trade. Bonus tip. Combine channel breakouts with other technical indicators like RSI and MACD. Look for those overbought, oversold areas. Look for price action technical indicator divergence like we've been talking about in the past, right? Are we making lower highs on the RSI but making higher highs on the price action? That could be an indicator to you that the trend may change on the price and that we could break down. Go back to those lessons, and if you want to know more about that, we talk about it ad nauseum. Okay, here, Adara. Now back to trading. Look at STOK. I mean, oh, you can scan that URL code right on your screen there, and you get sent to all the lessons immediately. I really like that. And Adara, I wanna complain about something.
Please do.
When you sat down over here, what did I say to you about this thing over here?
You really like that level as a level for a bounce.
Did I take it though, Adara?
No.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. And I said that specifically to, and why did I say that?
Because look at that previous area, and I saw the second I sat down, I totally saw what you said, and you were like, look, Adara, you know I love these type of levels, and I know you do it. I know why, too, because look, we had popped up into that area here. I'm blind. Is it 14.4?
Yep.
Then we pop back up here. We come relax a little bit and then come back down and jump with the viciousness, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, it's all
That's
good.
the saddest that I've ever said with the viciousness.
Yeah, I know.
At 14.4 on that bounce. But yeah, that was a bamboozler, that one.
But I do see trades on your side, and I do see triangles. So let's go through that.
Yeah, there are some triangles. I basically have a little bit of a plan here on Tesla. And shout out as well to Kyle Burdett and Adam DeLuz and everybody trying to share some advice and wisdom with me in the chat. I always really appreciate it. What a great community we have. I am taking out part of this Tesla position, but the plan is to continue to reload. I'm reloaded, as Sean's animation sometimes says, at 179. Oh, thank you, Sean, for getting him up here on the screen. Ask and we receive. But yeah, basically the initial plan was I planned this short initially very poorly. Look at this. We got involved way too early initially, 178.40, because I liked the idea that we were going to have some rejection here at this earlier area of support. Didn't end up coming to fruition. I got out when we were trying to really charge towards 179, but then I noticed we couldn't break above 179, so I was like, you know what, Adara? Say, get back involved. So I got back involved. Really, it was just kind of mitigating my losses in the first place so that we could reload and fight for another day. I am probably going to take out some more profits at 178.35s if I'm able to reload here, and we're going to try to reload again as we get back up there into 179s. If we do, I think at this point we might have to be happy with the position size we had. As Sharif says, though, you're always upset as a trader. You're always angry as a trader. And that's one thing I'm trying to get used to. Amazon as well. Shout out to Kyle Burdett for pointing this one out to me. Someone else in the chat, LA as well, was pointing this one out for the range opportunities. But I think too, like, we had this kind of VWAP bounce. We have these pops into 178.60. I still have a resting order at 178.39. We might get it now. Initially, I had 49s, which was way too ambitious. But I think 39 is probably a little bit better. And you can maybe take this short into 78.10s, get out if we break above 78.50, 78.60. So I think if you have a tight enough stop level, I think there are some opportunities here. Also, shout out to Mahmoud saying, appreciating this short here on Tesla, saying if the market breaks low, Tesla will tank. And I mean, yeah, I think, we call it stress low for a reason. We call it a mess low for a reason. This one is known to be very bamboozling, but I think if we have the right opportunities there could be a little bit of a destruction here in TSLA. Also, Amazon, we just got filled in Amazon. Please just punch. Pretty small position because you know what I mean? I just kind of had a resting order there. So I'm not taking anything out until later. I'm going to see what we do at 178.10s. If we hold, I'll take my 30 penny winner. If we break below, I'll stay in because why not? One more trade to talk about. I am very short biased today. I want to talk about this arm short, which I'm really proud of this, I'm not going to lie. So we had this massive move to the downside. And this is an example of a fake out breakout. This actually did break below that flat bottom break and then pop back up. So I was happy I got out of here when I did. And I want to explain why. Thank you. I want to explain why I got out here though. So initially I get in at 125.10, I think, and Sharif heard me go, oh no, because I fat fingered out half of it immediately the second we got in. Then though I added, I said, Adara, you still like this? Why not add more? So I did add a little bit more. Shout out to Neil and his tips with fat fingering, which is always, if you want it to be there, just try to get back in, or if you fat finger, like rectify it immediately. So that's what we tried to do here. We still have the amount of size I wanted, and this went, I'm very lucky to say, according to plan. We got out some at that 124.60 area, so that previous bottom. I was going to reload if we got back to 9 EMA, but we didn't. So I was able to take out some here around that 124.30 area, which was that previous wick bottom. So yeah, pretty happy with the trades. Slightly positive on the day if Tesla and Amazon continue to be kind to me. But I'm aware that the market does not care about your feelings and things can always switch up. So I'm trying to be nimble and I'm trying to be ready to see what the market has to bring. And always very grateful for our awesome community.
Absolutely.
What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at NVDL because of NVDA. So number one, before I do anything, I just want to show a chart of the NQ on the right and a chart of NVIDIA on the left. I mean, I was looking at BPI this morning. I was telling BPI, Big Patty Ice, I was like, Apple's not moving these markets anymore. It's NVIDIA that is moving the markets. And when you look at the chart patterns of these two instruments, let's call them that, they're almost identical. They're both hockey stick looking patterns, down and to the right, down, big down move, then consolidative sideways and to the right. They're both trading below the volume weighted average price. And guess what? They're both doing that magnetic effect into the 10 period, which is the green solid line on my chart, and rejecting off that level. The NQ, magnetic effect into the green, reject. NVIDIA, pulling back into the green and reject. And so, this is something, I don't want to say that you can trade with certainty every day, but it helps make things a bit more predictive, especially for something as volatile as NVIDIA, right? So good look here. Now, why am I talking about all this? Because I'm looking at getting short NVDL off and playing the range on NVIDIA. Anytime I get a pop into the 10 period moving average, which is the, I'm looking at the left chart right now, guys, which is, let me bring in the ticker here so you guys can see it. I'm looking at playing NVDL basically with when NVDA pulls into the 10 period and then looking to get short. The thing is, though, we're not going to get a big move on NVDL because we're not getting a big move, relatively speaking, on NVDA. Yes, I know it's moving dollars at a time. Yes, I know the range here is, well, let's say for the majority of the time, it's 88.96 to the downside and essentially maybe 902. So $6 worth of range, but that is normal on a $900 name, right? So it's going to have to be bigger share size on NVDL to capitalize on these, what essentially are micro moves on NVDA. So that's my thinking at this point, and I think it's valid. What I'm keeping an eye on for, though, is if we break 18.4 aggressively, and I know we got wicks below 18.4 on the NQ. That could really spell trouble here for NVDA, and we could find ourselves maybe like in the mid 800s or so. So we'll see exactly what we get on the day with this name, but I just want to point out the correlation between the two. Now, AAPL had a long trade on this. I had to flatten it out because I had to do the lesson, so I didn't want to hold it while I was doing the lesson, but this one held VWAP beautifully, okay? It was a bit of an aggressive retracement off the top. You saw the Katina man wet his beak multiple times on that short with great profits, but look where it held up, guys. All the wicks, without exception, all bounced off the volume weighted average price today. Even this monster over here, this weird looking candle, right? And even the more calm candles also found their base at the volume weighted average price. I also think it helps that VWAP at that time was trading near the whole dollar. It was right at 172, so you could have made a better case for it. We're curling up. We're making higher highs, higher lows. We have that magnetic OB effect onto the 10 period yet again, but this time from the north side, not the south side like we had on NVDA. So it looks like we are inching our way into 173 with that 173.12 HOD on AAPL. Let's watch this one. It looks awfully bull flaggish. And I think, maybe Apple's just been beaten up a little too much lately, so we may see some mean reversion moves back here. So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if I have any other trades I want to talk about on these Mag 7 names or switch to small caps. I am keeping my eyes on Tesla here. A couple of reasons. One, we had that flipping from support into resistance kind of take place here on TSLA. So look at this consolidative area that we had in the pre. It all danced around that 179.25, essentially between 179 and 178. You had a bit of $1 worth of range on TSLA. That is until we started moving here at around 850. Tesla was pumping. Everybody in the chat was talking about Tesla moving in the pre-market in the chat before the bell rung. The bell rung and we tanked. We exactly held up at 176. But look at this. Now the move back up is starting to find resistance at an area that we had support in the pre. So, if Tesla doesn't break above the green dotted line, which is pivots on my chart, then this could be really interesting here for a nice curl back down on TSLA. But we'll have to wait and see if that manifests or not. But I like when this area of previous support flips to resistance. It makes things a little easier to digest and observe. Before I go on to my small cap gapper analysis, we'll send it to Dara to talk about her trades.
Yeah, Tesla just popped up. I am in the Tesla short of that 179, that curl that you just mentioned. I was happy I got some out here at 179.70-esque, but we did pop up. We can't hold it. It was like a little whoop. It wasn't like, the 0 to 100 in a second promised by the Roadster. You know what I mean? It wasn't really that type of move. I mean, it was, but we couldn't sustain it. The car just kind of turned right off after. So I'm okay with this right now. Like I said, I'm eyeing this 179.30 area for a stop, and I say that because that was that earlier pop we kind of had earlier. It was VWAP, a little bit of support area, support and resistance. One of the biggest things I've learned here sitting at this chair with Sharif. I mean, he just talked about it, and that honestly, that's why I learned to look for this stuff was through a year. So yeah, thank you very much for that. But so anyways, I always again sound like I'm giving an Oscar speech, but I'm just always very, very grateful for these opportunities on this here desk. So I want to see if we come back into that 178.60s. I was kind of nervous that we'd have this pop, and I say that because look at these little moves kind of down here, and then we bounce back up, right? So these candles should have been maybe a bit more of a sign to me that we have these buyers overwhelming sellers just a skosh at this level. But I have no reason to leave quite yet, so I'm trying to be a little bit more patient, packing the patience, as we say. Amazon, I was trying to get reloaded here at 178.39s, did not happen, but we're going to try to take some profit here at 178.10. So did again to Kyle Burdett for pointing this one out to me on these levels, and I was very happy that I was able to enter this short because this is the type of stuff I like. We have a level, we break down from a level, there's clear previous resistance and support and areas for me to kind of worm my way around for reloads and exits. So
I love
type of stuff I like. Also, easy for all shoppers. Thank you very much for your super chat. Shorts beginning to get scared on W. Please check the short float for W. And that is Wayfair. And I don't know why I thought that Wayfair was going to be an NQ name. So let's see what's happening here. I know they have a pretty substantial short float. I'm going to check here. The thing is, too, is you're not always going to see the same short float for everything, right? There's different. But what I'm seeing here, this on FinViz, I'm seeing a short float of 25% for Wayfair. So that's kind of, I think, lines up with what I've seen before for the most part. Volume on this is not huge, though. This one is about 1.5 million shares right now in volume. Let's see what we have shaken in terms of a catalyst here for Wayfair.
Wayfair, you got just what I need.
I didn't know that was this.
No?
No, I had no idea.
God, it's hideous.
Yeah,
it's very
it's not great. Yeah, I'm not seeing any news on this, actually. This is probably a short squeeze, then I think easy for all shoppers is very much correct about that. But yeah, I think this is a nice look here for Wayfair. I think you do have that kind of pop into that earlier pre-market area, 66.6. Oh, 666, but not an unlucky number here for Wayfair because they continue to run to the upside. Nice pop up here right now up into 69s. Speaking of going up though, Tesla was like, hey Adara, I'm gonna scare you. So I'm gonna have to deal with the Cybertruck right now. I'll quickly look at the daily chart though for you for Wayfair, easy for all shoppers. Let's see what we got shaking here. I mean, yeah, we had a nice pop up here, I have to say. And look, we're actually coming into that previous area of resistance on the daily chart. I get excited when I see stuff like this. We had support here at 69 earlier, then we pop up into, I can't believe this, about 86 on a closing basis. Then we come back down here. We find resistance at 69 twice now. Jeez. So will we double top? I think it's certainly an interesting area given that confluence. Shout out to Obi at 69 earlier. So that would be a level I would like. But right now what I would like is not being in this Tesla short. So I'm going to deal with that. Amazon's behaving pretty nicely. Shout out once again to Obi, but I'm going to deal with Tesla right now. Obi's giving me a look like, he's like, why do you keep bringing up my name?
And he's like all leaned into his computer. I think he's trading heavy right now.
Also, shout out to that CCL trade earlier as well.
Obi.
That was a fabulous look. But anyways, yeah, so we'll go back to you and I will stop shouting out Obi.
Why not? Well, we'll shout out Obi. It's all good. Yeah, he's good with it.
He's good, okay.
I'm looking for a dip trade here on STOK. At 14, we'll see what we get. That's the volume weighted average price. It's the whole dollar level. It's a lower conviction trade because it's starting to make lower lows and lower highs off that 1640 HOD. I'm talking about STOK, small cap gapper du jour. Let's give some deets. $648 million market cap, larger. Okay, so 2/3 of a billy. The float, decent, not minuscule, but not big either, 42.2 million shares. So on, let's call it the mid-range of things, thereabouts. We have an interesting double bottom here at 14 1/3. Look at that touch there at 11.10, and yet again here at 11.28. So we are finding that area of resistance. Now keep your eye on this area here because that's probably why we are finding support at these random levels, right? Because of this initial area of resistance. I just happen to think that small cap gappers bamboozle you more than large cappers do, and therefore I'm looking at getting a better cost basis. If that means me missing the trade, so be it. But there's evidence, obviously, to support getting in at that 14 1/3. We'll see exactly what happens here. Big Kyle Burdett softy 420 lost. Spin the money for Adara Amazon lady. Let's go. What is going on over there? I didn't even know an Amazon trade was being had here. I'm sitting there doing my analysis, and the chat is more aware of what's going on next to me than I am.
It's okay. Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I'm going to shout out Kyle Burdett for this because, like I said, he was very helpful here as well, pointing this one out to me. But yeah, so I did take out some of this profit at that 178.10. That was a level I also like. And then Kyle also kind of affirmed that if you want to take your 30 cents, take it here. I have a really small position left, like you know, pennies. But I'm comfortable staying in here. If we go back to this 178 and below, that will be my piece for the dream. Like I said, I'm totally cool reloading at this 178.40 area. Should I get it again? But if not, I'm happy with this, and I'm happy I took out some profit. Thank you very much, Kyle, for your super chat, for the kind words and for the support, and everybody in this chat for just being awesome. Tesla as well. This is like a sad case of when you have to get out because your stop loss is triggered, but also it ends up working for you, and you're sad. That was not really an actual coherent thought, but I want to explain what I mean. So I got out of this because we broke above that 179.30, and then we were starting to break down from there, and I was like, oh, Adara, stay. And I was like, but Adara, risk management principles assert that you must get out here because we broke above your level. So I got out, even though I was thinking I think it was going to go lower. It did go lower, so I did take a loss on that. But in the end, you know, I have to be happy that I stuck with my risk management principles because my risk management principles told me to leave, and we left. And I cannot look at this and say, hey, Adara, you would have been 50 cents in the money. I can look at this and say, hey, Adara, you could have been dollars out of the money had you stayed in the Cybertruck. So that will be my you know, Aesop's fable, for lack of a better term, from this trade. Although it does hurt right now, I'm not going to sit here and lie.
Nvidia's tanking.
Oh, Nvidia's tanking too, so it's not just Tesla. Okay, I feel slightly better about that now too. The whole market.
Oh no, it's a whole market.
Yeah, thank you, Sharif. Yeah, Nvidia kind of rounded top here to the downside. You know, we had to sell the frowny face here, I guess. Shout out to Sean for that amazing trade on this earlier, killing it. Sean, I know Sean was like, you know, talking about the Tesla trade, and then he took this Nvidia short, absolutely crushed it. So shout out to Sean. I think for myself, if I look at NVIDIA, I'm going to have to start looking at NVDL because I know you talk about NVDL a lot, and I know it's like a nice, less stressful way to get involved in the incredibly stressful name that is NVIDIA. So if I do want to get involved in NVIDIA, unless I'm doing like little baby range scalps, I will be doing NVDL. Also, sorry, I feel like you got cut off there. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No. I was going to cover this monster, a.k.a. GCTS, halted yet again. This thing is up 169.45%. I could have just said 170, but I didn't want to. So we'll have a look at GCTS. Let's give the deets. Uno momento, por favor. Here we go. All right, I don't have deets. Okay, so it's deetless.
Deetless, bring in deets.
Let's bring in trade ideas. Let's see if they've got anything. GCTS. They're not going to have any. Okay, well, they do. 4.5 million share float. There's no market cap, or is there? Market cap, 152 million. 4.5 million share float, according to trade ideas. But, you know, we'll see. This thing's halted at 17 3/4, just south of 8. HOD, 19. Look, I could just look to get in willy-nilly, but we have some, you know, basic rules. I'm talking about me. For my small cap trading, it's got to be above the pre-market high, and we don't have that here. The problem is the pre-market high is prohibitively high at almost 29 bucks. Look at this topping tail candle over here at 28.84, technically the pre-market high. The best we could do off the open is 19. We are above the volume weighted average price, so there is that check mark. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll break our rule if this thing looks real good, but not at the moment. Won't touch this one at the moment. There are others, right? I already mentioned STOK. I'm going to leave my dip trade hanging out at 14 for that, so long as the volume weighted average price hangs around 14. I talked about the buy program that was obviously on OUST earlier today. It's having trouble with 7 though right now. You see all the wicks into the 710, 7 low teens seem to be having trouble, despite the fact that it's holding up well, very well above the 10 EMA. It is not closing at all below that, and there hasn't been a print actually below the 10 EMA since the bell rung. But, we're seeing something, to take an adage from my friend to my right, this area is distinctly different than the other areas that it printed earlier on. So OUST, definitely on my view, but I'm not going to jump into this one. IBIO. Now, this one is good. It's a continuation play. For whatever reason, this thing started moving at 7:30 last night and popped off from that $1.10 that it closed out at, and then at 8 p.m. it got to $1.75 thereabouts. It gaps up again at 4 a.m. this morning, and it's been printing higher highs and higher lows all throughout. The better level, I would say, hasn't been the volume weighted average price. It's been the 50-period moving average. All the dips into 50 have been bought up so far. Look at this one over here at the more volatile time of day. Now we are right at the 50-period moving average, around that $2.50 area. So let's pull up IBIO and decide what we're going to do, if anything, with this monster. Let's pull it up. IBIO. Oops. Oh, this one's on the Amex, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So this is an Amex stock, by the way, guys. So you're going to have permissions to trade on the Amex. So let's see. What are we going to do with this one? So this is the area. Okay, I'm going to go long IBIO, and I'm going to put a stop. I'm going to see first here, does it break the $0.50? Because my stop is going to be on the other side of the $0.50. It's going to have to hold up at the $0.50 right now if I'm going to get in. So I'm going to pack my patience a little bit. I don't think that there's a whole lot to rush me into this trade. We are ranging, and I'd like to see if it does break the $0.50. So I'm going to pack my patience a little bit on this one, Adair. It's up 120%. It's nothing to sneeze at here. But I'd need proof that the 50-period moving average is going to be a level of support on it before I punch in. My out, though, will be on the south side of the $0.50.
Yeah, IBIO was an interesting one. This one was actually on the watch list this morning. I believe, it was IBIO. And what an interesting little ticker, what an interesting name. So best of trading to Sharif in that one. I don't want to say good luck because it's like trading isn't luck, but we will say best of trading, happiest of trades. Also, I did add a little bit to Amazon here. We get this pop up, kind of stagnant a little bit. I want to see what we do at 78, 65, 78, 70. That's going to be my area for a stop. And then, like I said, I'm looking to take profit here on these drops back into 178.10. So I'm going to set that profit taker back once again here for that area. Also, I want to talk about, I mentioned earlier too, if I'm going to take NVDA and not NVDL,
Bang.
I have to have a plan. It has to be scalpy. With that in mind, I'm pretty proud of this little baby scalp we had. We took 50 cents. I took it with not a great share size. And I think that's one thing I want to work on is if I'm going to take this, maybe take it with a bit more shares because, my risk to reward was basically, I got in 55, so 895, 55. If we broke above 896, I was going to get out. So about 55 penny reward to 45 penny risk, which is very specific, but it ended up working for me. So I was happy with this, but again, the share size was probably maybe not enough bang for your buck. You live, you learn. And I really what I was watching, because I was watching on the book, we were really having a hard time with 885.50. So I put it slightly above 885.50, knowing that we would need an oomph, because I didn't, I was like, in case we don't get filled, I don't want to get too excited about Miss NVDA. You know what I mean? She's a bamboozler and a half. So as Sharif once said about NVIDIA, and this is a real quote, the bamboozlement is real. So that's something I totally agree with.
Sadly.
And that's why NVDL definitely probably a better option, but just for the scalp, it ended up working out. So I did want to talk a little bit about this. We do have some weird little bounce here at 892, but let's see if this bounce at 892 or 893 is for real, or if it's more maybe an inverse cup and handle. We cannot diagnose patterns until they finish coming to fruition. We cannot guess. All we can do is see what's on the chart. I made this sound like science, but charting, a little bit of art, a little bit of science. Also, shout out to Mahmoud, apparently printing on that Tesla short. Unfortunately, I was not really able to print with you. As I said, I had a way too conservative stop, but that's okay. You know what I want to do here, though, is this earlier area I had an eye on. I'm trying to learn to flip my ranges. So if we keep rejecting at this 178.70 area, we're gonna short this. We are gonna short this. So that'll be our short. If we get into 179s, I will add, and if we break above that area, I'm getting out. So that is the plan here for TSLA, using my previous shorts, my previous ranges to help make new ranges. What else am I looking at here? I don't actually have too much on the radar. I do want to take a look at coin, though, because coin, we did have that story with the SEC basically saying with a federal judge allowing the SEC to go through with most of its claim in this lawsuit against Coinbase. The one thing that was, decided in Coinbase's favor, I am not like the legal jargon queen over here, but the one thing that was decided in Coinbase's favor was with regards to its wallet. It didn't act as a broker through its wallet application. So that was the one thing that was decided in Coinbase's favor. Some analysts saying that that was a huge win for Coinbase. Others saying that the SEC ended up winning more relatively because more things were decided, of course, in the favor of the SEC. But we don't have actually any like decisions yet, right? This is just basically how the lawsuit will proceed. So it will proceed, but not under everything. So that's my little Coinbase legal update. I apologize for not being the most legally well-versed human in terms of the language there. But I think this short, honestly, the 9 EMA is interesting. If I took it, though, I would probably take it under CONL, which shout out to Sharif for telling me here about CONL. This is that Coinbase derivative. We talk about NVDL. This is, for NVIDIA, this is the CONL, which is that Coinbase derivative. And this one is a Granite Shares 2 times long coin daily ETF. So that's what this is. And I'm going to be having to keep an eye on Coinbase and CONL for that reason. Trader Revolution, actually, $5 super chat. GTSC at Catalyst on Benzinga dashboard. Been listening since 2019. Heart emoji. So thank you very much, Trader Revolution. I'm going to see what catalyst we had in GTS.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get GCTS unblocked on our system. It's blocked.
Oh, that's why we can't.
Yeah,
okay.
we can't. So Brenkles is going to see if he can put in a ticket and get it unblocked. So right now we can't trade GCT Semiconductor, which goes by the ticker GCTS on the NYSE. It's up 171%. It's going to take some time for guests to get unblocked. May or may not be today. I just wanted to let you know quickly. I just have to submit everything. So
yeah,
just
of course. No worries. I can keep yapping there.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, Coinbase is interesting to me for that legal catalyst because, as you can tell here, and Sean put it really well in the morning here as well, there was a lot of confusion on this chart because initially people were reacting negatively to the fact that generally the SEC, it was ruled in favor of the SEC, but the Coinbase did have that one tiny W with regards to them saying the SEC didn't really prove that Coinbase, or they can look at Coinbase as a broker there. So interesting look, basically, the charges having to do with Coinbase trading some securities that were not authorized. So certainly an interesting little case. And also Tesla, if you would like me to join the short, I'd greatly appreciate it. Amazon continuing to flutter to the downside here. Shout out to Kyle Burdett. I'm really happy I got into this short, and thank you for mentioning that one to me. We did reload a little bit here. I don't love how we're dancing with the 9 EMA, but I do think in general this one's on the move to the downside, so I'm trying to learn not to be so hasty and get out the second I smell, not even smoke, the second I smell mild vapors, I get out and I freak out and I'm like, no, I need to leave. So we're gonna have to see, Amazon, we're basically flat on the day heading to the downside, so stay patient, Adara. Unless you have a reason to leave, you will be staying in this Amazon special delivery. And hello, Sharif.
Hello, sorry about that. Yeah, we just submitted. They need to see a headline and stuff too. So obviously there was a headline in case you're wondering what is going on with this GCT Semiconductor shares ahead of the first day of trading after completing the SPAC merger. So this one de-SPAC'd and well, that precipitated 192% pump right now on the name. Was up a lot higher than that. Here we go. We just printed new high a day now on GCTS. Still can't trade this. $20, the official HOD. But we all saw what happened at 7:20 a.m. when this monster went up into $28.84 and then went all the way back down to $11.50. So that's kind of how these small cap gappers work. Trade them at your own risk. And goes without saying that managing risk here has to be paramount. We're long IBIO. We're 1 penny out of the money as we continue to hang out at this 50-period moving average. We did not get a close below the 50, but we are below VWAP. So my line in the sand is on the south side of the $0.50 for breaks, 50 pennies. We're going to risk 6 pennies here to see if we can make it possibly into that mid threes or so. Technically the HOD right now 330. So we'll keep eyes on that. Dip trade still hanging out at $14 or thereabouts on STOK. We're looking for that defender, the volume weighted average price, if it does make its way down there. But it looks more interested in defending the 10-period EMA. Because again, look at this. we have wicks below the 10 period, but no closing prints south of that solid green line. So we're getting that defend of the 10 EMA for whatever reason, but we are south of 15, a bit of a consolidative range. I don't think anybody can argue with that after this big monster candle here at 1045 moved us up from 13 2/3 all the way up into almost 16, right? And then we broke 16 on the subsequent candle. So we'll keep eyes on STOK here, figure out if we can bamboozle a trade on this monster. It's up nicely on the day, but consolidative at the moment. Let's flip back to some mega caps over here, see what's popping off. All right, so we got the NQ, about 24 points or so above 18.4. Now the NQ and NVIDIA are starting to diverge a bit. And let me show you exactly what I mean. So we're making it up to the 20 period on the future, but we can't even break the 10 period right now on NVDA. So there is a little bit of divergence. While they were both hanging at that 10 period earlier, they are starting to diverge a little bit here, and that's good to know, especially with the confluence that we saw them trading together with. Today I'm talking about NVIDIA and the NQ June contract. All right, so let's see what we got here on NVDL. No trades to be had. We're obviously rejecting off that 50 period here, which is 50 period on the 1, different than the 10 period on the 5. So we'll keep eyes on that. What else we got over here? How's our trade doing now? We're 3 pennies out of the money on IBIO. My line, it looks like we're going to get stopped out as we make our way down into that 250 area. 250 line in the sand will risk 6 pennies. Top VOIP. Does that mean voice over internet protocol?
Ooh, I knew it meant something tech,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're killing it because I would have had no idea what tech that meant.
What did you say, Fabian? Am I right? Am I right? Maybe that's not what he means, though, for his name. So we'll see. Top VOIP, DJT, starting to move. Have a look, and let's get this going to 90. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Let's get that one over here. We can't load up GCT, so we'll go to Donald John Trump on the NASDAQ. Up here, what do we got on? Okay, so we just touched 69s and clearly putting in those higher lows and higher highs. We're talking about channel breakouts today. Now, you don't always have to have a channel breakout. You can just get an upward channel, and that could be the move. And so far right now, we're getting an upward channel here on DJT, looking to go through 69. Earlier, if we zoom out just a smidge over here, we definitely had some resistance at the 68.50, 69-ish area. That's where we dipped down into at 9 o'clock. We bottomed out there at around 9:15, 9:20 or so, and then popped up there for the open, then sold off at the open. Obviously, we saw what happened there, holding up at 62.5. But DJT looking real good. It's going to have to set up a little differently here. Top VOIP for me to get in, but you know, this is your trade. This is your trade. Have at it, my man. But right now, I'm going to have to let this one do its thing at 21. Ponzi Fonzie, what's a Lambo trade? Bald tires, check engine light flashing. Thank you, dude. You always seem to spice up your question with the Lambo trade. I love it, Pons. Let's see what the Lambo trade is. Let's bring in some small cap gappers, because we're not getting much in the way of Lambo trades on these mega caps today. Look, I don't know. I like these. I like this $15 hold or thereabouts on STOK. If this one squeezes, we've already seen its propensity to squeeze. Look at what it did at 950, 955, and then again at 1045. This thing can go dollars at a time. You just got to catch it at the right time. Obviously, a lot easier said than done. Oh, Very. Okay. Very's doing its thing. This one was a play yesterday, and so it was a holdover on my chart from yesterday. Definitely not the same kind of price action that we had yesterday, but we have over $1 worth of range, about $1.30 from top to bottom worth of range. It's trading above the volume weighted average price. It is above yesterday's high, so it's a continuation play, but on lesser volume. So make sure that you are using the appropriate share size here in case things go south and go against you. But VERI, also possibility here, Pawns. I don't know. Probably maybe not your kind of trade. I don't know. GCT obviously is the thing that keeps on going here. Halted again at $20.89, but we don't have anything on that at the moment. We'll find out if we can trade that maybe later in the show.
Yeah, I've been watching this. I've been dancing with the devil, and the devil's name is NVDA. The D stands for devil or danger. But
like,
look at this range on the 1 minute. 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 1 This is the type of stuff I love. 895 bottom, 897 top. We tried to get that short from 897. We were not able. We missed it by a couple pennies. That's okay. NVIDIA is not one you chase. You should never go chasing waterfalls. When that waterfall is, a tsunami by the name of NVDA, you really do not want to go chasing it. I also think that range might be getting away from me because look at this. We had this massive, very bullish candle here, still close to the downside, but look at that tail showing, we have buyers trying to win out here. We're dancing on this 90 MA with a night. I was going to say with a viciousness, but it's not a viciousness. We're just chilling. But the point I'm trying to make is I do think there is something brewing here, and NVIDIA is not the type of thing you want to play this range long. No.
Is something afoot?
I think something is afoot, but I also, as I said, that we dropped down into my range. So, je ne sais pas, if we keep bouncing at that 895.55, I need to be a little bit more vicious. I need to see more viciousness in myself.
Fair.
For how I attack this trade. So I think we might be getting back involved here. I'm taking really small positions because it is NVDA, but given the size of the scalps, that's why I wanted to, have a little bit more wiggle room, and that's why I'm doing NVDA instead of NVDL. Also, Tesla, we were invited into the Cybertruck for the short. And of course, now we bounce up. I'm going to be more patient, though, because I told my whole sob story where I was in this short. Things were going beautifully, and then I set my stop loss way too conservatively. We broke above it, and as I got out, we were breaking down below, but I said, Adara, you need to adhere to your risk management principles. It turns out that was not the right call because we got out, and then immediately it dropped like a good 50 cents. But that's, risk management, it wins in the long run. I can't be like, no risk management because there was one trade that went against me, right?
Fair.
And that's, honestly, I have to think about, Adara, what did you do with your stop loss that led it to happen that way? And I know what I did. I was way too conservative with it. So we're going to be a little bit more open. We're going to have more of a conversation with Tesla. Be like, hey, Tesla, how are you feeling? What are the candles looking like? What's the price action looking like? Instead of running out of a trade because it hit my stop loss, because that was an error of grave proportions. I have to be really honest there. But shout out to anybody who did take that Tesla short. I know Mahmoud was involved in that, so congrats to you. I will be watching to see what we do here at 179, and currently we were trying to dance with 179. So Tesla, I have my eyes on you, girl. You fooled me once, but to quote the Who, we will not get fooled again. We will not be fooled again here by
I would have quoted George Bush if I were you.
Oh, that would have, yeah.
Remember how hilarious that was?
That would have been, yeah. There's a lot of.
He had no idea what was going on. He's like, fool me once.
Shame on.
You're not going to fool me again. He's like sitting there trying to think about like the actual statement he could come
I'm pretty sure J. Cole sampled that once too. It was actually really funny.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, this NVDA, like I said, the bamboozlement was real. The range did not end up coming back to fruition, so I'm happy I didn't take that short there. But now maybe we're trying to form a new range. We make no assumptions with any trades, but let alone NVIDIA. So NVIDIA's gonna have to tell me what she wants to do. Tesla, keep filling at that 179 if you want to. Your choice. Just say asking for a friend. But Amazon, I'm still in this as well. Yeah, shout out and thank you again to Kyle Burdett, because I feel like, with these insights, I'm getting a better understanding of the points of entry for trades and when to stay in a trade and not panic and run away. Because that is one of my biggest flaws as a trader, is I get way too spooked out way too easily. I like what's happening right now. We are seeing these continued stutter steps. I'm going to try to take out some of this at this 178.20, 22 area, this earlier area of support. We're going to save a piece for the dream for 178.05. I have enough where I can split this trade or my profit takers into two. So that is what I'm going to do.
Can I talk about Donald John Trump over here, DJT, failed break of 69 so far into 67. We do have support at 67, owing to this crest over here and owing to this hold up over here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to punch long on Donald John Trump right now with a break of 67 as my out. So let's go ahead and put 66. I'm going to put whatever, like 92. And then 66, we'll put 82. So we'll give it 10 pennies worth of room. If it can make its way up into maybe 68s, where are we long? We're long 44s, okay? So we can make something like a 68 touch. I'm going to hang out maybe in the low 90s for something there. Here we go into the 75s we go. Looking for a possible retracement here on this name. It's up 16.8%. I mean, it's not a bad look. There we go. We get the fill, baby. Pleased as dang punch on this one. Let's let the other piece go. Maybe we get a 69 break. So we knew we had support at 67 because of that obvious area over here. This one and this one. Now, do we have the follow through to actually get the break of 69 on the third attempt. Is the third time going to be a charm? First rejection over here at 11:38, 9, whatever. Second rejection over here at 11:50. So do we get continuity through that level? We'll wait and see. We're already long as well, IBIO. And we're in the money on that one. So nothing really to complain about here. This is a decent day for these small cap gappers. I'm just thinking about where I should have my out. Should I have it like 68, mid 70s? Because if we get another rejection at 69, but then I want to hold for the 69 break, right? So we'll see there. All right, IBIO making its way back into the volume weighted average price near that 67. So it does hold up on the 50 again. So this is why I say always, have the indicators out there, but observe to see, is the indicator being respected by that name on this specific day? If it's not, don't use it until it is. I mean, have it up on there on the chart, but nobody's going to force you to use it. So it looks like as if, though, we are rejecting off the volume-weighted average price on IBIO. So maybe it was a perfunctory bounce that we got on the 50 period. And so we'll have to wait and see. I'm not taking any out here. If it goes against me, it goes against me, whatever. Let's see what we get with DJT. So rejecting off 68 for now, coming back into 67 3/4. We're long 44s. I don't think I'm going to let any of this go against me. If it comes into my level, I'm flattening. And then I'm long in this case for that 69 attempt. I'm not here to range trade this name, okay? So if it comes into my level again, through the break of the $0.50, cutting it, and then we'll look to do something different. What's going on over there?
I mean, I think I have some kind of Pavlovian issue because every time you say range trade, I go, what's that? DJT. But no, I know you killed that one yesterday. I'm very happy you already have your little sweater there. Also, thank you very much to Ahmed Amwala for the AED super chat there. Looks like he's also long DJT, so it looks like you guys are both in the Trumpmobile there. I don't know. I keep saying Cybertruck. Tesla has
no.
Also, but yeah, here I am, and we love Tesla once again. I think I need to just break up with Tesla for the day, unless I see a setup I'm obsessed with. And I say that because right now I'm not obsessed with what's happening here.
Okay.
And we did take some profit. I'm not going to sit here and lie. My issue was pamp it, says Sharif as well. I just want to put that out there. Also, Tesla's pamping it. So if you got long Tesla, congrats to you. I think too. I got involved. And I initially did like what we had here, but we didn't have enough of a move down for me to be able to profit on this short. We were kind of curling up a little bit here. I think what I saw was kind of a range down into that 178, 70 down to 178.40. We just didn't time well enough. We weren't able to get involved first. The first take, potato pataba, opada, we had to get out. So I got out when we broke above that 179 area decisively. And I think this is an example too, because I was a little bit like, maybe I should have held, because like I said earlier, I got out a bit too early with that short in Tesla, because as you can see here, the next 5-minute candle would have been all the action I was ever going to need in the Cybertruck. But we didn't end up getting it. All good. Just had to learn not to revenge trade and still stick to my principles, even though they did me a little bit dirty the first go around in the truck. Also, Amazon is still, sputtering to the downside. So happy with this trade.
Bro, GCTS is flying, Adara.
What?
It's flying. It's at $26 now, man. It's going to break the pre-market high of 28 and change. I mean, this is nuts. We can't trade it, but it's moving. I just wanted to point that out. It's up 300%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 300% there for G to the C to the T. And that was a semiconductor.
Yes, it is.
Also, did you get another beak wetter? I heard it, yes.
I didn't. No. It was like G to the C to the T to the S.
Oh, yeah. S. Like that. Also, I have one mic by Nas on my head since that reference was made.
All I need is one mic.
That beat is great. But also, this beat as well is great. And Boeing, that was a bad transition. Renata, shout out to Renata for mentioning this one to me earlier, which is why it randomly possessed me to look at it now. But look at these bounces off VWAP. This is gorgeous. We have higher highs. We have higher lows. And now we're actually kind of rangy a little bit. I'm not going to take this range short because Boeing is a little bit of a bamboozling one, not to the degree of some of these other names that we get involved with, like our Teslas and our Nvidias. But Boeing still can send you in a little bit of a tailspin. So I want to be really, really cautious before getting involved in this. That being said, this is like a dollar range if you get this off VWAP and take it to 191. So I'm going to be watching for that VWAP bounce. And I will be hopping into the plane there. Hopefully not too much turbulence should we get involved. And the stop loss will be the lower low, which is like another thing as well I've learned. Shout out to Sharif and everybody here. You need to make sure whatever you're using to get into the trade, help it propel you out of the trade. And so that's what I would be doing in BA. So let's look at BABA, actually, speaking of that, because I know
the Katina man was yelling about it this morning, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was involved in this. Boeing is massive move to the upside, even slightly down in the day now, and we actually had negative news coming out of China. Apparently, it's largest outflows in more than 2 months.
Yeah, that's
7.2 billion won coming out from overseas accounts or overseas markets. So big move down there for Alibaba, but Alibaba not really caring that much right now. We're kind of dancing below the 9 EMA, but still up about 0.2% in the day, which if you looked at any of these ADRs in the morning, you would not have thought was possible.
No.
So go BA and go DJT.
It's okay. I mean, we're having a lot of trouble here, Adair, with 68. We're getting prints above 68, but somebody is either taking a lot of profit or reinstituting a short position at this level. Because, you break 7, 10, 15 pennies above 68, the spread widens, right, which shows that the buyers are not moving up with the price action, and then you get a dip right below 68 again. So it's kind of doing it right now. We got the bid at 68.07, the ask at 10. So the spread is tight, but you're not getting that kind of vigor through the level that you expect on a name like DJT. So I'm kind of wondering what the next move for me here is. Do I take my profits here or do I just let it ride? I've already got my profit taker hanging out. All right, now we're seeing the $quarter come into play. So unless it's going to be a bamboozler and then we're going to tank right back down, I'm sitting in the mid 70s, okay? I'm 68, mid 70s. I don't want to fight with that 69 level because I know for a fact that people were shorting at that level. So I don't want to be in the case where I may not get filled. That doesn't put me in a good position, especially with something as volatile as DJT. Here comes the half dollar. We're printing 48s now on the ask. So we're $1 in the money on this monster. Let's see if we can get a better print because we haven't taken that $1 in the money print yet. We have to get above the half dollar, but it is better than what I was looking at before where we are having obvious trouble with the whole dollar level. Now, if we can make our way back into 69s, and I'll print, hopefully, in the mid 70s. Let's go back to IBIO. I no longer like this trade. This is a volume weighted average price rejection. I already wet my beak on a 10 penny winner. I'm flattening out the remaining amount here. Break even. This is not the trade I'm going for. I broke my rules going for this long when it's a small cap gapper below the volume weighted average price. The reason I did that is because the chart was showing me that it was respecting the 50 period rather than VWAP. As such, I took the long there with the thought and the plan that if it was to break the half dollar, so close were we to the half dollar and the 50 period that if it broke, I would flatten out and get short there. But now I'm getting a rejection off VWAP using it as resistance rather than support. That's not the look I want to go for. All right, back to DJT, printing highs here. Let's see the half dollar. So, okay, so are we printing above the half dollar on both sides? And by that, I mean the bid and the ask? Yes. So let's see if we can get continuity. I'm seeing 66s now show up on the ask. If we print above 74, I'll get filled. But right now, we're going to have to pack our patience because it doesn't go on my schedule. It goes on its own. I'm seeing 66s and 59s on the bid. If we can move up just a smidge more, I'll get filled, but we'll have to likely wait on that bad boy there. 18 1/3% to the good now for Donald John Trump. The ticker, obviously, not the person.
Him personally, no, I'm sure.
Yeah, he got a little richer there the other day with the amount of, he has
pockets.
ridiculous amounts of shares in this company. And then with the price action, that what it's been doing, he's a little bit richer there. All right, we're printing 69s here. Let's see if we can get the print. I'm just flattening out here. I'm not going to wait. All right, so that's a good trade. That's a $1.20 winner at the top there. I'm happy with it. I liked it because it wasn't just a random willy-nilly trade. It was based on technical analysis where we used that 67 area as a level of support. It came in twice earlier. We took the long end. Now it's printed to the high side. I could have waited, Adara. Here comes 69. It looks like 69 may break this time. So let's look at how much size here on the book at the whole dollar level. Nothing too big. I'd say probably about 300 lots of what we can see, but it's what we can't see that we should be fearful of, because a lot of hidden sellers with these small cap gappers. And as you can see, there's just not enough size on the book to prevent us from ascending further. That means that there's likely an iceberg there somewhere. So yeah, 69 proving an elusive level so far. Is third time a charm, because this will be the third time. And so in how many minutes? In about half an hour. So rejections off 69 for now, Adara, but for how much longer? All right, let's see what we're talking about here. Sorry, guys, I was not able to look at the chat. Magic Mike, any level you are watching in the future, this pierced in the Fed day levels, that is a muddy ground here. I won't trade today. I'll tell you, Magic Mike, you're not going to see me trading the future with the way that it's dancing at 18.4 right now. I don't like this type of trade at all. This is a very undecided trade. I'm going to stay away from it. Nick Dub, what about W? Adara covered, what's it called, Wayfair earlier. I'll let her look at that again if she has an opportunity. But Mr. Long Shorts just went long D-Nut. What do you think? Sure, let's go. Let's have a look at DNUT. I'm taking IBIO off my...
Spanish?
Yeah, it's banished, Adara. All right, D-Nut. What do we got? So this one was a big boy in the trade yesterday. It was an earnings winner? No, it was McDonald's.
Yeah,
McDonald's
it was a McDonald's partnership with donuts.
Thank you for that, Adara. It was McDonald's. Two very healthy restaurants. Excellent food there. No, seriously though, this one, it was a big boy mover yesterday. Let's see what the percentage gain on the day was. By 7 p.m., we were up over 40% from top to bottom by the time this one was done trading at 8 yesterday. Over 40%. That's a great look. So let's go ahead and use fibs. All right. We're going to drag from the opening print, right, into, I'm going to use this as the high. So right now we're doing the dance at the 50% retracement level. Yeah, make of this what you will. Obviously fibs, you know, they're a little random. Oh, come long Apple. I have to digress from this. I just got long Apple on a dip trade. Sorry, I've got to digress. Can I send it to you?
Yes, you can.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I also just entered a trade. Microsoft taking this short off the 90 MA. Sharif just did his. Oh, you can see it on this trade. He was very pumped there.
Pamp it.
The pamp. So there we go. He says pamp it. As someone in two shorts, I'm okay. It's what it is. Amazon, though, if we break up precisely above this 65 area, I'm going to have to get out. That might be a bit too conservative, but I don't know. We're going to have to see what we do here, because that would kind of be a break above a range. I might get out some here and then see what we do at 75, that earlier pop, because I cannot have us make new highs. That is not what I am about here in this short. But I was really happy I was able to take some profit on this earlier. Shout out again to Kyle Burdett. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, with all your guidance and insight and wisdom and different takes. I really do appreciate being able to learn from everyone, both here and the viewers at home. Also, Tesla knocking on the door of 180 here. So yeah, I tried to dabble in the shorts earlier, partially successful, mostly got swept up in the bamboozlement that is Tesla. Let's see what we do at 181.60, because that was that area we had the little chop and churn and then quadunk off the open. So TSLA just breaking above 810s. Another name on the NQ continuing to be very strong indeed is NVIDIA. And I say continuing because we did sell off earlier, but we had that 892 bounce, which was awesome. I tried to take a couple shorts off that bounce, so pretty happy with how that went. But now I want to see first what we do here. We're really kind of running into a bit of a hurdle here, a bit of an issue at 902. I want to see a precisely break above 902. We had a little bit of headbutts against this level earlier that we were not able to successfully overcome. So I want to see what we do here at NVDA 902, and then if we could reclaim VWAP, would be a nice look for NVIDIA as well. Shout out to anybody in this long. I believe Joanna Brewster in the chat involved in this one, so shout out to you. A lot of these names you're getting a pop, including I might have to revisit Amazon, but Microsoft kind of chilling here, so pretty happy I did decide to get into a short. We do have a profit taker set at this 55 area because that was that area we had that earlier dip. I always like to take out at previous areas of resistance and support on our journeys because you want to make sure you have some profits there for the road. And I think that was my issue with Amazon. I should have taken some more profits when we got down here to 78.20s, and I missed my area by a cent. And with this in mind, I think we have to express ship ourselves out of this trade kind of an odd analogy, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to get out of AMZN, unfortunately. So if we fail the 70 area, I'll get back in, but much like the Tesla trade that ended up going slightly against me because I got out on a conservative stop, you know, you have to do what you have to do, right? You don't learn anything if you get out on a stop break and then it ends up continuing to work, right? This Amazon might fall back in, it looks like it will, but I needed to make sure I left just to adhere to my own levels. So we'll have to see what happens here. Slightly negative on the day, but overall pretty proud of what I've done with some of these trades. Positive on NVIDIA, positive on ARM, slightly down on Tesla. Right now we're in Microsoft, so nothing to report there. And then Amazon, more or less flat here. Also, we have, oh yeah, it looks like Kyle Burdett and I left Amazon about the same level. So shout out to you, Kyle, and congrats on the profit takers in that trade. And thank you so much for your guidance there. I do really appreciate everybody's insight. Bless you to whoever sneezed. Also, a couple super chats. Yeah. Trader Revolution, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. GCTS halted up again at 26.18, watching for 30 break potentially. Currently 86% with stop loss set. Open mouth smiley face, yay. So shout out to you there, Trader Revolution. Also, Ahmed Amwala with the 729 AED super chat. I'll wait for 70, I think that has to do with DJT. So yeah, shout out to you there. And also congrats on your lovely little DJT trade. How is it, Tim, cooking for you over here?
It's okay. We're about 20 pennies in the money. We got long 172.05. It was a pre-programmed dip trade. That's why I kind of didn't realize I was in it until I looked at the TV blotter. There's got to be a better way for me to know if I'm in a trade. I asked the Katina man this, but there's really no other way, right? Other than stare at the blotter. The blotter open, yeah. Sometimes I don't. Yeah, well, no, it was a dip trade, so I didn't know that I was in it until I looked at.
Did it just show up in your blotter?
Yeah, but the blotter, I'm not always looking at the blotter. That's the thing, right?
So I have a tip for you.
Go, look at the blotter. Yeah, I got you before you said it. I knew you were going to say that, Katina man. Katina man's trolling me. What do we got here? Rock Dock. C-Zoo is strong. Yeah. I saw that. Monster up 70%, 13 million shares. Okay, so this is going to have to go on the side chart with the small cap gappers. What are we going to take off? We're going to take off D-Nut, right? So CZOO. I didn't finish analyzing D-Nut for that individual. I forget who it was. In any event, so D-Nut has retraced back 50% fib from the breakout point yesterday. And it's holding it quite well, holding 1550 as a price level very well. I would keep eyes on this 16 and a quarter, 16 and a fifth or thereabouts. That's where the volume weighted average price is. But above that, below that, I would say, keep your eye on a break and hold above 16. So this is the area, this is the crest I'm talking about here. So obviously you tried to attempt to make a retracement into VWAP off that 1550 bounce on D-Nut, but you rejected. You came back into that key level of support of 1550, and now you're making it back into 15 and a quarter, 3/4. So before the volume weighted average price, if you're able to get a higher high, that could be quite indicative, right? And maybe a retracement. Maybe D-Nut is not an intraday trade, but because it's holding up well versus what it did yesterday, it could be a multiple day trade. This could be an interesting swing here if you want to explore that option. Not financial advice, obviously you got to do your homework. So retracing into the 50% on fibs, below the volume weighted average price, had trouble with 16 earlier on, and definitely has support at 15.5. I hope that helps. Now let's go to CZOO. Kazoo Group, Dietz, $52 million market cap, float, 4 3/4 million shares. So very small, not minuscule like we've seen with some of these Chinese small cap gappers that are sub 1 million. So let's find out if there's short float that's important on it. No, about 1% of the 4 1/3 million shares is shorted, so nothing really too big here. Let's put the ticker in for CZOO. This is a good one to keep eyes on. So now, how do we trade CZOO if it is to come back? Look, I'm not going to be chasing this, obviously, at highs. I very much like this 9 to 9 1/4 dip trade. Couple of reasons. One, we have that obvious crest earlier on at around 10 to 10.20, where the $9 area was an absolute resistance level, right? And then we have all these topping tail candles through 9 showing that the shorts were really fighting the longs, really trying to push this down. The longs ended up winning, right? But these topping tail candles are quite indicative of a tug of war between buyers and sellers. So we know for, like, you know, not for certain, but I have a good inclination that level at 9 will be possibly well defended. So I would put a dip trade at 9. Now, the other trade, if you don't want to wait for 9, if you think maybe, you know, we're printing 10.5s here, a 9 retracement is too aggressive of a retracement. The other level that it's really respecting is the 10 EMA. So ever since essentially it did that rounded bottom at 8 and then printed higher highs and higher lows, look at the level, look at the line off which it's magneting, it's retracing to, like that magnetic pole that Obi talks about, but then bounces right back up. That is the green solid line. That is the 10 EMA. So if you don't want to wait for 9, maybe that dip trade at around 985.10 might be worth your while. Not financial advice, but obviously I tell you the best I can. All right, Apple's coming in right into my level here after taking a nice out on it for a 30 penny winner. It is right back at 172. Apple breaks 172, I'm out.
Yeah, Apple, go Apple, stay above 172, and get Tim cooking for Sharif.
That'd
please.
be nice.
Thank you. Wouldn't it? But it looks like you already have your little beak wetter there.
Yeah,
So
I took the majority out right there. I'm holding a very small piece, so this means not a whole lot.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to learn as well, you know, through practice and through time, how big to keep your pieces for the dream, right? So it's like, I think that's a fun little science. Maybe science is the wrong word, but it's something I'm trying to learn a little bit, right? Because you want to make sure that you have enough, you've taken your profits, but also if you have a greater goal that you're saving for, do you have enough to sustain that as well, right? And so I think that goes back to what Sharif said about you're always going to be angry as a trader, because that's one of the biggest things. I'll get involved and they'll take some stuff out too early and I'll be like, grr, I'm mad I didn't have anything else. But it's like you have to stick to your plan, because otherwise things can kind of work against you. And I want to talk about this arm trade here earlier too. We'll ignore the fat finger. I did discuss the fat finger.
Guys,
it was
the chart?
Pardon? Oh, yeah, sorry, the chart.
Them, yeah.
But yeah, other than the fat finger, which we lost a couple cents on, we got right back in. That's okay. We only took out half the position on the fat finger. But anyways, so at first I was like, oh, maybe Adara, you should have kept a little bit more for that 124.30, but that was a planned exit, because look at that little bottom here, these wicks to the downside. And in the end, it was happy I adhered to my plan, because we haven't gotten that low since, right? So obviously it's not always going to go like that. You are always going to be angry as a trader, but you also have to, sometimes instead of having FOMO, you have to have JOMO, or the joy of missing out. As Fabian and Ramin, shout out to them, once put in a poll, and it's something I'm really starting to understand. Sometimes you have to be happy that you missed something. So here, I'm happy I took that profit because I missed out on some of this move to the upside. So there you go. Also, ARM's actually kind of rangy, but in a very penny scalp type way, and with ARM spread, that might not be action I want. Also, Microsoft continues to chop and churn. That's all I have for my trade right now, but I am looking for other opportunities. Boeing still ranging, and also a lesson still afoot.
Yes, ma'am. All right, here it is. We are talking about channel breakouts today. We've been talking about breakout trading all week. So let's get a little bit, let's cover this topic a little bit. So imagine a river, guys, flowing through defined banks. In the trading world, price often actually behaves similarly, carving a channel on the chart defined by the trend lines, right? So, but just like a river can burst its banks, price can break out of these channels, signaling potential continuations. And the example that we gave earlier was, well, let's do another example over here. So CZOO, you could draw, you know, these upper and lower trend lines. You have defined highs over here, defined lows. So essentially what we're looking at here are a channel, an upward channel, okay? With a lower trend line defining the lows and an upper trend line defining the highs. And so whether it's an upward channel or a downward channel depends upon the slope of the lines. If they're pointing upward, it's upward. It's downward, okay? So the channel concept here. Channels are formed by connecting trend lines that touch the highs in the upper trend line and the lows and the lower trend line of a price movement. These lines represent areas of both support and resistance where price tends to bounce back or reject off. There are three main types of channels. There's an upward channel, which slopes upward, indicating a prevailing uptrend. There's a downward channel, which obviously slopes downward, suggesting a downtrend. And there's also a consolidative channel, as you can see over here, displayed where the price is horizontal with defined highs and defined lows. Okay, so an up channel you can see in the blue, down channels in the red, and sideways channels there in the black. Thank you for adding that in, Adara. So the breakout itself, let's talk a little bit about the breakout characteristics. So a breakout occurs when the price decisively moves through one of the channel trend lines, right? So this signifies a potential change in the direction of the prevailing trend. So here's the breakdown. The bullish breakout, this is when the price closes above the upper trend line in an upward channel. This is suggesting to you that buyers are overpowering sellers, potentially leading to a continuation of the uptrend. Conversely, a bearish breakout. This is when prices close below the lower trend line, right, of a downward channel. This indicates sellers are gaining control, hinting at a potential continuation of the downtrend. And here is a great example of an upward channel breakout. Look how many times you touch that upper trend line. As I mentioned when we taught this lesson first time around, the longer the resistance level or support level is in play, the more important and the more, I want to say, reliable it becomes. In addition to that, the more touches that support or resistance level has on especially something like the daily or the weekly, the more reliable that level becomes. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on that upper trend line before we break through it here at 63 and change, okay? Similarly, look at the downward trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the whole bunch of touches here. This is like harassment.
Yeah.
Right?
It needs to back off.
The whole point is you can see the relevance of the downward channel. Now, sometimes you're going to have perfunctory breaks. You're going to have wicks that break below the lower trend line or the upper trend line. Look for the closing print rather than the wicks through that level. In addition to that, one of the confirmatory factors you can use to help judge if it's a fake out, which we'll talk about in a second, or it's a real breakout of the upper or lower trend line, is one of two rules. So the book by John J. Murphy, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets, posits two methods that you can use. The 3% rule or the 3-day rule. The 3% rule could be a closing above the upper or lower trend line 3% plus or minus, depending if it's a long or a short. So if it closes 3% above the price of the upper trend line, that's your confirmatory technique. The other one is the 3-day rule. You're looking for a closing print above or below whatever trend line, long or short, 3 days in a row. You want it to close above that level 3 days or below that level 3 days in a row. Okay, so you can use any one of these or your own concoction if it makes logical sense to use it as your confirmatory tool so that you can weasel yourself into the trade. And here is an example of a downward trend. You don't have as many touches on the upper trend line as you do on the lower, but then you break it with the viciousness, as Adara says. And then I love how this one goes and tests that previous area of support, now acting as resistance. And that's why I always say, extend your trend lines as long as your program will allow you to extend it. So if it doesn't extend it for you, draw it out yourself. You have nothing to lose. And then the most dramatic headline we've ever had on How to Trade: false friends and true signals. Breakouts are valuable signals, but not bulletproof. False breakouts can and do occur when the price briefly touches the trend line, but then reverses direction. Here's how to avoid getting fooled. So volume confirmation. In addition to the confirmatory tactics that I just talked about, 3-day, 3% rule, you should be looking for volume confirmation. Look for a surge in trading volume alongside the price channel breakout. High volume here will suggest to you more conviction amongst buyers, and it is more likely to be a true breakout. Conversely, in addition, price action confirmation. So observe the candle pattern after the price touches the trend line. a daily or a weekly candle closing clearly above the upper trend line in the case of a long, or below the lower trend line in the case of a short, provides stronger confirmation. So keep those little tidbits there. But how do you take the trade? So once you've confirmed that there is a channel breakout, you've defined the channel, you've drawn your trend lines, you've done the analysis, now comes time to actually punch in and put the risk on. Here are some strategies to help you enter and exit the trade. So for entering the trade, we've been positing two different methods. One, you can get long or short on the breakout itself. The example we've been using all week is Apple 200. You could be one of those people who sits at $200.01 waiting for that 200 break to get long. You could be some of the other people who wait for that 200 break to come in, leave it by some distance, and then come back to 200 to test it as support in the same way that we got it over here. So you got the break of that level, and then you had a retracement back into that trend line, and some people may have waited for that to actually get short on that level, okay? So that's one way you could do that. And then stop loss protection goes without saying. Always use a stop loss in order to limit potential losses. For bullish breakouts, place it below the broken trend line. For bearish breakouts, place it above the broken trend line. And your profit targets, similar strategy. If you're going long, you're looking for a clear resistance level above your long that you want to wet your beak and take some profits at, and then maybe save a piece for the dream. Conversely, for the short, you're looking for that clearly defined support level below your entry where you want to take some profits and then obviously save a piece in case it keeps going. Perfect case in point. And again, I'm going to keep shouting you out because these are really good. Look at this, okay? So entry at retest. So what we did here is we broke down aggressively below the lower trend line, right? But we didn't get short there. We waited for the retracement to come back into that lower trend line to reject. And that's when we got short. The stop, it would have been above that lower trend line there, right? Because the lower trend line, former area of support, current area of resistance. So if it breaks above it, the trade may be invalid. And then you're looking to wet your beak, I would say somewhere around right here, owing to these 2 points over there. You know for a fact that we're likely to find support at this $1.08 level on whatever. This is the Euro USD, okay? Yeah, and remember, channel breakouts, guys, are signals. They're not guarantees. Make sure you're conducting thorough research, both technical and fundamental, and make sure you're managing risk effectively and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Adira?
Yeah, thank you so much for going over that lesson du jour. We're going to go over it one more time at 1 p.m.-ish. You know, we always have people coming in at different times.
Bang.
So we got to make sure we amplify it there. Also, I don't know what that hand motion was, but whatever. Microsoft as well here. I am
Very
still in this
DNA of you.
Pardon?
Have you ever heard of amplification in DNA? You're all about that kind of stuff. PCR, amplification.
That's
I was
very
watching
cool.
Forensic Files yesterday. That's why.
I love Forensic Files as well. Shrew and I have talked about our mutual enjoyment
Yes.
of true crime shows.
Yes.
Forensic Files. I know you like Unsolved Mysteries. I've only seen the bad Netflix one, so
You know
I
why I
can't
like
get into the OG.
Unsolved Mysteries? Because it took place in the 80s. There was no cameras everywhere. You couldn't, like,
a different era.
Yeah, you could get away with a lot of stuff. Everything was a mystery back then.
Yeah,
Now it's like
not
everything's-
anymore. Yeah, that was what made the new Unsolved Mysteries kind of mix. It'd be like, oh, we have camera footage of them going there, and I'm like, okay, cool. Also, Microsoft pushing back up here, so I'm going to have to make a hard exit out of Microsoft. And yes, even when losing a trade, I will pun. So we're going to be trying to get out of this here. Yeah, we're out of Microsoft. We took some profit here, and this is, I was talking earlier about pieces for the dream. This is one thing I'm trying to learn here. Adara, your pieces for the dream need to be larger and better planned than your stop losses, right? I feel like I keep thinking, oh, it's okay, I have some of this saved. It's like, or sorry, the opposite. I need to have more profit taking than I'm saving for the dream. And that's something I'm trying to learn. I didn't mind this exit. Honestly, if we make a lower high, I might short this yet again. But I'm trying to make sure I'm timing this a little bit better as well. Also, Fiddleback saying the best part about Forensic Files is having Luminol explained every single episode.
Yeah, I know. It's like, we got it, bro. It makes blood shine under dark light. I know. But you know what? Once you spray Luminol, you cannot analyze that sample for DNA anymore. It taints it, right?
I didn't know that.
It taints the structure of the DNA helix, and so so it's a kind of give and take.
Yeah.
You can find the presence. You know why sometimes they use it? Because they can't find the body. And so what they end up doing is they say the blood that was found is so great that no human could have survived it. Therefore, we can assume that they're dead. Right?
Yeah, that I did know, because sometimes you have to have trials without body. Anyways, we're going down a very dark path. I apologize. They're quite literally.
Sorry.
But also, yeah, no, that's interesting, because I didn't even think about that. But yeah, cool little insight that I learned. So thank you very much to Sharif for that one.
Not just about trading on this show.
Pardon?
Not just about trading.
Right? Yeah, we're all encompassing. It's how to trade and how to luminal. But anyways, no, all jokes aside, I like this. I like the idea of shorting Meta here. And want to know why, though I'm a little bit skeptical, is look at this 5-minute candle, revving to go. We have this big tail to the downside here saying, no, I want VWAP. But Meta, you haven't taken VWAP. So Adara, why the heck are you not getting involved in this short? So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to try to short. Oh, we just got filled. Okay, yay. If we break above this 492.50 area, which coincidentally happens to be above VWAP, that is where I will be getting out. I'm going to be planning my profit takers better, because I just said that's something I struggle with. So if we get to we'll take like about $1. We'll take some at 491, and then we're going to be saving. We're going to take equal pieces though too. We're not, taking out a little bit and then saving a lot, because that's what I kind of did with some of these other trades, and that was very ill-fated of me. So Meta, we're going to try to be getting $1 here from the get-go. Then we'll save a little piece here for this little baby curve around that 490 area. Why do I like this 490 area or 490.50? Because A, it was this nice EMA area of support earlier. B, look at this insane candle we got in the 5 here at 490.50. We have this, we close right above it, we rest right above it, we have like a little head perched up on it, but then look at this massive tail to the downside. It shows, hey, buyers are here to go, and the next candle we get, nice green candle to the upside on decent volume. So I think I do want to be cognizant of that. That being said, I'm trying to have a better understanding of it. If I like a setup, don't wait for it to be picture perfect. Get in because you like it. So I got involved there. Speaking of that, I did miss the boat, or I guess missed the plane a little bit in this case on Boeing. I should have taken this short of the 191. The reason I didn't, though, was because I was worried. We had higher highs, we had higher lows at the time. I was like, this could be a flat top break. Alas, much like Boeing, it did break to the downside, and I'm really sorry I said that, because that pun feels a little bit, given Boeing's kerfuffles as of late. But Boeing did break to the downside. The fuselage did blow off here at that 190.50. I'm gonna wait and see what we do here. I think there could still be a range here. Shout out to Brad Gober, who mentioned this one. I've had my eyes on this one for about like the last half an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. Shout out to Renata for mentioning this one earlier as well. But I don't want to, I don't want to rush into it. I want to make sure that I have a plan, because I think Boeing is a little bit directionally confused. You could also, again, maybe argue that applies to planes as well, but that's okay. I want to see that VWAP bounce. If we get that VWAP bounce, I'm getting in the long. Also, even this bounce here off this 190.35 area, which I drew previously, because we had these little candles of indecision around there, I think could maybe be an area that we just take long to 191s. I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to start trading.
Nice.
Stop, talk, start, trade. So I'm going to get involved there. Meta trying to pop to the upside, which is not great to happen when you were in a short. Boeing also trying to pop to the upside, which would be great if we got filled there. But c'est la vie, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Always trying to see what trade opportunities are in store. I see charts.
Yeah, the Chilean Nightmare letting me know that Lionel Messi is going to team up with White Claw.
Oh.
So I pulled out MGOL to find out what was going on. And well, MGOL is up 11.5%, but it's done like almost only 500,000 shares of volume. And on the 5-minute look, it's not tradable from our sense, but we'll keep eyes on it. I'm not sure that's going to be market moving, but we're going to keep eyes on MGOL. The Messi related. Is this still a SPAC or no? It's actually de-SPACed, right? Yeah, the company operates. No, it's a legitimate company now. I'm talking about MGOL, which is that Lionel Messi linked company. All right, I'm keeping eyes on Oust. So this thing is up 36 and 2/3%. It just retraced into the volume-weighted average price. Let me show it to you on the 5, a bit of a better look here. So this is the one that we said had a buy program onto it because of the amount of ridiculous green candles in a row. But now we got this sideways move. We couldn't hold on to that 7 break, so we break back down into the volume-weighted average price. We get a couple of bottoming tail candles here that break south of VWAP, but look where the closing prints are. They're all at VWAP. I could punch in here, and my level could be, the break of VWAP, but we're now looking for the curl, right? So you want to get it on the back end, as Neil likes to say. So Is this the right level here? And I think it's a fair entry. If I get in at 84s, 14 penny risk, we have, you know, obviously I would have liked to get in at a little bit better of a price, but I just got eyes on it now. Anyway, I think this is a sound name, especially because of the strength that it displayed earlier on, the consolidation at the hold on level, and then the hold at VWAP, right? So a lot of check marks beside this name. We'll keep eyes on that one. STOK going finally. So how long did we hold this waiting for that break into high day? And finally, we've got to look how consolidative STOK was here. Now the volume's picking up and the insanity is starting as it's dancing 25 pennies at a time now. So we'll see what STOK does. 1640 HOD, but I would submit to you that 16 is a big boy level on it, owing to all the rejections that we've had at 16. A lot of topping tail candles through that 16 level. So STOK getting going again here, up 51% and change on the day. So we have some decent small cap gappers, man. I got to tell you the truth today. A lot of them are not giving up the ghost. They're trading above the volume weighted average price. They're maintaining these levels. Again, I know about GCTS. Sorry, guys. I see you guys yelling about in the chat. I saw Jay Lee with that monster short. Shout out to Jay. We can't trade this. Brenkels has already submitted the ticket. So once we get that response, then we'll be able to trade it, but not like I would really trade it anyway. I got to tell you the truth. This thing is just not, yeah, it's halting a lot. Can't seem to stay open. So some good stuff over here, whether from STOK or OUST. Let's pull up a trading screen now and see what we're going to do with this OUST as it's coming back down to 82s here, Dara. Very interesting stuff. Manuel Palma, Google, big volume candle. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. I do see that. That's very interesting. Big topping tail candle there. Usually indicative of news when something like that happens. Not typical with Google. This candle here at 1230 had 800,000 shares. It's rivaling the candle at the opening print. So definitely hear what you're saying there. Let's pull up Google, find out what's going on.
I didn't see anything.
Neither am I. Not seeing anything here on Google on my blotter. Let's look at Goog. Nope. Nothing yet. As soon as we get nothing on Benzinga either, right?
No, that was what I checked.
As soon as we get something on Google, we'll let you know, but we had a perfunctory break of the volume weighted average price. We are above 150. We're fighting right now at that $150 level, guys, as the volume weighted average price is like 10 pennies above that 150 level. So critical level here. I mean, $50 level, whole dollar level, volume weighted average price, rejecting. We had these topping tail candles into 150 earlier, so we know 150 is acting as resistance on the day ever since we broke it to the downside there into 148.90. So yeah, very interesting here. Look on Google. Not sure what to make of this. And
I found what it was. Thank you, Buzz, for saying Google. CNBC. Brad Gerstner buying Alphabet and talking about it. So we got the CNBC pump.
Gerstner, yeah, he's pretty cool. I like that guy. He sometimes comes on the All In podcast to fill in for one of the guys, but he has his own pod. This guy is big time into TikTok. This Gerstner guy. Again, TikTok not a public company, but he's involved with them, and so he kind of knows sometimes about what's going on and talks about that. If that interests you, Brad Gerstner, good dude. Let's keep looking at the charts over here. AAPL making another move here, back above the volume weighted average price, bounced off the 50. It looks like here broke 172, like it didn't matter, and that's why we got out. But it's pumping right back up to the exit that we had. We had that out at $0.33. So AAPL right back there, but lower highs. Keep that in mind, okay? So that big boy pump through 173 that we got at around 10, what was that, 10.05? Yeah, 10.05 or so. That's the high. Then we get this crest over here, this rounded top, lower high, and right now it's a lower high. So we need to keep eyes on this. Otherwise, it's sequentially lower highs and lower lows on AAPL, but definitely outperforming the market on the day, 1.5% to the good, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Google definitely, sorry we couldn't get that right away, but thank you to Buzz or Boz in the chat for mentioning that we did have Brad Gerstner on CNBC. Sometimes those CNBC mentions will show up in Benzinga. This one has not quite yet, but yeah, thank you for allowing us to bring that one. Also, Phony Baloney wants to talk about Tesla. So let's talk about Tesla. Tesla, honestly, continued to climb to the upside. Not much to say here from a chart perspective. So much strength on this name. I don't know why I drew this line earlier. This might have been an accident. But I think I really want to see what we do here at that pre-market open from whence we fell aggressively at 181.40, right? That, to me, that is the area that we need to see some kind of eclipsing of, because we had this topping tail candle here, then that massive move to the downside. Live trader, Trader TV Live saying go long Procter and Gamble.
It's a Ram.
Well, that's Ramin.
Yeah. And she's like giggling over there. Why, Ram? What are you doing with Procter and Gamble over there? Huh? Everyone needs diapers. Yeah, well, they have their...
Oh, Pampers, that's why. Pampers, oh my God, I love that. It's a pun. I love that.
I love it. That is actually real. Okay, I didn't get it. Now I get it. I suck, guys.
Thank you, Ramin. I love that so much.
Ram.
I really enjoyed that pun there. But yeah, so nice. You know, for El Tasig, if I lose, it's Ram's fault. No, we respect Ram in this house. No, all jokes here. All love, and thank you everyone in the chat for your kindness and this great sense of community that we have here. Tesla trying to push 181. Honestly, to me, I think this will get interesting once you break above 181.40. I want to have a good read on this, but honestly, it's hard when a chart is just upside, upside, upside. Not as many green candles as we had on Oust earlier with that 16 or 15 green candles in a row, but certainly a nice look here in the 5. We had that earlier area of resistance that was shortable for half a moment there, that 179 area. We come back to that support at 178.40 and then swoop to the upside. So until we run into resistance at 181.40, there's not much to say here on TSLA. Let's look at the daily chart for potential levels. I know that 180 level has always been really key for TSLA, at least recently. Sean was mentioning this 180, 178 area. That's certainly always been an area of interest. We're actually kind of running now into this previous support we had earlier. And when I say earlier, I mean back to January. We had these couple bumps here, January and then February, of this 180, 185 level. I think we need to decisively close above 185. Then that 205 area, and I remember Sharif mentioned this one in great detail when Tesla was initially dancing with 205. We gapped down from 205 on earnings. So that's also, or not, yeah, I don't think this was the earnings move. But I think earnings were the 18th. Anyways, not the point. The point is we had a gap down, and then Tesla lost its 205 area. So I would like to see Tesla reclaim that 205 for this to be a continued move to the upside. Also, I want to talk about Meta because we are trying to make a comeback. This is on the daily chart. Also, Meta and this double top at 510 on the daily. But let's look at the, I'm just laughing at Ramin in the chat. At Meta, I initially lost in this short. Talk about getting out on top wick in a bad way. This is disgusting. I got out way too early. I should have given this a little bit more room to run. It is Meta. I didn't even give this $1. And I did take an L on this. However, I got back on this short. I didn't let this discourage me. I said, Adara, I still think there's some wiggle room to the downside on this Meta. We still can't decisively reclaim above VWAP other than these little pops to the upside. So I said, don't be discouraged in the Wizard City Lopper. And I got back in the short because I did take a massive L on this. I am not proud of this trade. I'm not proud of me panic selling or panic buying, I guess in this case in the short. Look at this. This has to be one of the most embarrassing candles here. This giant witch to the upside and I got out of the short. But you know what? Honestly, that means all I can do is prove to myself, say, hey, Meta, you will not fool me again. I keep saying versions of fool me, but Meta will not do it again. It happened once, and we're going to see what happens next here. But yeah, Tesla really strong. Tesla now trying to claim 181.20, so good luck for Tesla. Take a quick look at Wayfair. I know earlier Nick W. mentioning this one, and someone else as well, I believe Easy for All Traders. Yeah, I mean, Wayfair really had an issue with that 69 area, chopping and turning around. We fell below. I believe it was Mahmoud in the chat saying that it could squeeze if it got to 70. And we just did not get to 70 was what happened here with Wayfair. Nice VWAP bounce areas, but we're really having a hard time getting up off and continuing our movement here. I'll look at the daily here as well for Nick W.
Go, baby.
Yeah, I mean, trade?
We're in Oust. Yeah. Nice. I didn't mean to interrupt you, though.
That was okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that I still think that 70 area is an area on the daily for Wayfair.
Yep.
There we go.
We're in Oust, 84 for that VWAP bounce. Sorry, the position board wasn't working. I've been in it for a few minutes, and then the Chilean Nightmare fixed that up. We're all good there. So let's see if we get that 7 move. That's what we're waiting for. But there's obviously a tug of war happening here at that 90 penny area. I've been watching this for a little bit. We're having trouble ascending through that 90 penny area, but we're going to pack our patience. OUST, nice double bottom at the volume weighted average price on the 5. And looking for it to curl, maybe retest 7. It definitely had issues with 7 earlier. It's up 38% and change on the day. What else? CZOO keeps going, bro. And it's I don't want to say it's a calm trade because, like, look, we're up big. We're up off that $6 area, 574 low a day, $12 HOD. But it's quite predictable in that you're not getting these big flushing candles through levels. You're getting healthy periods of retracement on CZOO, right? It's a bit of an upward channel. We drew this kind of like drunk looking line over here. Let's adjust this. It's not the weekend yet, Sharif. Yeah, no, I haven't drank since November. Since I went to the Katina with the Katina man and Neil and Brenda. Yeah, that was the last time anyway. This one continuing to print nicely here. I mean, any dip on the 10-period moving average has been absolute money on CZO. So strong has it. It hasn't even touched the 10-period since what time? Since 11:50. So we're almost going on an hour here that this has been so strong. Retracements into the 10 haven't even come in. So CZOO, we're gonna have to figure out a way to get into this. Maybe just actually sit on the 10 and take your chances there. The worst it's done is the 20. And that was during this consolidative retracement period. After the retracement, there was a bit of a consolidated period here where we held the 20 quite well. So we'll see. Well, we get there. All right, back to OUST. All right, we printed a couple of prints here above 90. Looks like we're printing 91s, and I'm seeing 92s. Here comes 93s. I'm sitting at 94s. Could we get the fill? OUST, decent day, 39 change percent up on the day. Just looking for that print. If we could get it, we'll pack our patience there. Call in, or sew in. Sorry. What? Okay.
Coin clocking?
Yeah, coin clock tax. Can you look at GME? I'm hoping it can close around 1250-ish area today. Let's have a look at GameStop. Obviously, this one reported yesterday and didn't do as well as maybe some of us wanted it to do. Let's have a look at the price action. So yesterday, what happened here? We're dancing in the aftermarket there, in between, 15 to 15 and a half. We got this algo pump into high 15s, and then we got the Huadunk, right? And how low did we dip? We dipped into 12 and a half. So first and foremost, let's put our GME ticker so everyone can follow along. And let's draw out our trend lines over here. So this 12 and a half area, which we actually broke, but we broke at 6 a.m., so I don't put a lot of stock into that. Now, what I'm seeing here is multiple rejections to the high side off the 200. The 200 on the 5 is what I'm looking at. What do they want it to close? 1250-ish area. So I'm assuming you're short. I'm hoping it can close around 1250. So you're obviously short. I like this 1250 area though. And the reason I like it is because that's where the algo spike went to in the morning. We also held though 250 right there at 830. We haven't been at that level since that time. We've been holding the volume weighted average price quite well. A little bit above, a little bit below, as you can see here. This might not be an intraday trade. You may not get the 1250 today unless we really tank. I think we're a little bit far away from it right now, trading at 1315. The price action hasn't been volatile, so it's not like, we might get a wick off 1250. I'd say you may get 1250, but it may not be today. You may have to hold on until tomorrow or whatever other day. I hope that helps. That's not obviously financial advice, so do as you like. Back to OUST, looks like we got into 93s, but we didn't cross into 94. So no fill for me yet on oust, but we'll keep eyes on that. Katina man, what are you looking at over? I haven't looked over your way, bro.
Long Alibaba.
The Katina man is long Alibaba and long Google. And then that same Robinhood trade at 1970. All of it right there. Thank you very much, Fabian. Perfect segue. That right there, what you guys are looking at is more Trader TV. We've been talking a lot about it, not as much lately. What you see there is the OB, the one, the Canobes positions on the left, long Tesla 180.10. And then there's the Katina man's trades right there. And all his entries and exits. Shout out to the K man or the C man because it's spelled with a C. There as well, you'll be able to see the economic calendar on the left, thanks to Adara putting that in every day, the top stocks, the reason why they're moving. You can see on the bottom there that we have obviously a ticker, headline ticker, and then the top you see the actual trading ticker. So And the biggest movers, thanks to the NOS boss and his crew over there at Trade Ideas. We're really proud of that channel. It took a long time for the programmers there on the back end to get that done. And, you know, it was very much requested because when we're dropping hot lines here on the midday or on how to trade, the Neil and the Katina man's trades, we got to communicate them to you verbally. So we figured this would be a little bit of a better way. You guys can keep tabs on what the big kahunas are trading all day. All right, we're having troubles at 93 here for whatever reason on ELS. That's the second time we made it into 93, Fabian, and we weren't able to break that level. So keeping eyes on ELS here, looking for that 93 print. But for now, gonna sit on my hands there.
Yeah, I should sit on my hands, but I have to say I'm pretty happy we did get a little bit of a meta profit taker here. And I'm trying to be very scalpy about this. I believe it was Hog Rider in the chat saying, you know, meta isn't an uptrend. I don't disagree, but I think that VWAP projection, which unfortunately I got swept up in the bamboozlement into that false break into 493. Speaking of breakouts, here's a massive example of a false breakout, right? We go to 493 on a wick basis, purely and truly. How many shares do I have in the, okay, perfect. So we're gonna be trying to get out of this meta then, trying to plan my exit. We're gonna be trying to get out here, probably the same area, this 491.70s that we took out some profit earlier, because I like just kind of the idea of being able to scalp. I do not trust how well Meta's holding this 90 MA. I don't like this massive red candle and this massive green candle. Looks like Meta is actually trying to break that 493 with a decisiveness that it did not, or with a level of decision that it did not possess earlier. So I do want to be very cognizant. Also, shout out to both Sean and Obi getting long Tesla, which I discovered through our second channel. Check that out. But Tesla did have a little bit of a moment here at this 181.48. When I said earlier, I said to me this is the main area that I'm kind of interested in with regards to Tesla, is what we do at this 181.40, right? So we got up here, we sold off a little bit, but we came up and we recovered really nicely at this 181 level. So Tesla wants to keep revving to the upside here. So, you know, honestly, there's no reason to suggest it won't. The topping tail candle, a little bit suspect, but the speed with which we recovered here on TSLA, a nice look for sure. Also, I'm in a Boeing long. I had an order set out for this one a while ago, and I'm happy it got filled. So we're taking this. I like the range on this. We're getting out here at, this is a super scalpy move with not a ton of shares. We're getting into 89s. This range is getting tighter and tighter. And so as ranges get tighter and I want to range trade, I have to be cognizant and set my areas of entry and exit a little bit tighter as well. If we break decisively below this 30, I like this 35 area that we had a little bit of a cushion earlier. That's where I'm going to have to say bye-bye to Boeing. If we bounce at, I said way too many words that started with B there. If we bounce at 190.45, I will be adding a little bit to Boeing because I do like that area as the true base for the range there. Happy with that. Meta going down a little bit, so obviously that makes me pleased as punch as well. Honestly, Meta, I'm proud of myself for getting back in. We're still down on the name, just the amount that we got bamboozled earlier, but sometimes you fall and all you can do is get back up, brush yourself off, and make some more trades. How are you doing over here?
Good. Still, geez, man, there's oust. There's a seller at 93, kind of a random area to have a seller. Here comes 93 again. There's the book, and there's not too much size at 93, so why are we not ascending? A 2-penny spread on a $6 name is not the greatest. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest. Now we're printing 93s. You see that coming in there on the book. What does D mean over here? D means ADF regional only to NASDAQ. Okay, so when you guys see these little letters over here, each one is a certain gateway, right? So I'm just trying to see which gateway keeps printing here to the high side. Sometimes D means dark pools, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks, Katina, man. A? Q or T is NASDAQ. Says, yeah, this I think is a little dated, so I have to update that. All right, so we're packing our patience here on OUST. Now, Brenkels did put in the request for GCTS, so let's give that a try because it's up like 10,000% now. GCTS, which is on the NYSE. Let's give that a try. Not yet. Okay, so not yet. We'll pack our patience. Maybe we'll get it today. Maybe we don't. But I'm going to cover this for people because there may be traders who are in it right now. Now we're up 481.75%. It looks like, are we halted here? Let's flip to the 1 minute on this. Yes, we are halted. 38.28, the 100th halt. I don't know. Let's count how many. forget about counting. There's way too many. It looks like there's 20 some odd halts. It hasn't halted though since 12:45. So went 12 minutes without halting. Like, look, in all seriousness though, this did have an interesting top here at 31 bucks. There was 2 rejections off that level, both of which precipitated down halts. If I can make an observation here, for whatever reason, the dips off the 50 have paid. The 50 is the red solid line on my chart. You see that over here at 12.18, then multiple times over here, but it hasn't touched the 50 too much lately. It did a bit of a dance with it earlier, but it didn't break the 50 even at that time. So the 50 has played an important part as support on GCTS today. In case you're wondering why this thing is moving, it's a microchip catalyst. I'll show you the headline here real quick. I showed it earlier. Here it is. GCT Semiconductor announced Tuesday it became a publicly traded company after completing its business combinations. So de-SPACed, essentially, okay? And that's what precipitated that huge move. Halted 38.28. We can't trade it yet on our system, but we'll keep eyes on that for anything over here. Especially if the chat is interested in trading. All right, nice. We got the fill there. Finally on OUST. So this one continuing to incrementally make its way up into $7. It is a VWAP bounce trade. That was really the whole purpose behind this particular entry on this name. But we're going to let that one kind of churn, and we'll see maybe next time we'll take something above $7. Let's flip now to these large caps, see what's popping off in large cap world. All right, so Amazon, okay. Amazon making moves. Now, I just saw a headline right now on CNBC that Amazon, well, something that we already knew though.
They put 2.75 more.
Thank you, Katina Man. So we already knew that Amazon had invested in Anthropic, which is, you know, a rival AI company to Grok, to ChatGPT, to Gemini. And this is the headline that's precipitating this pump right now through 178 on AMZN. Amazon in investing an additional $2.75 billion in AI startup Anthropic in its largest venture investment yet. Yeah, that's money. The Katina Man dropping the money because that's big boy money right there. $2.75 billion. That'll keep the lights on for a little while. Anyway, breaking through 179, dancing with 179 at the moment. HOD on this name, a cool 180 on the dot, but it was a big move up and then dump. So we were curling up there in the pre, then the bell hit, and then all hell broke loose. We dumped from 180 into that low of day that we currently still have, 177 and a third. So a nice $3 or $2 and 2/3 move there. Dancing with 179. I know Big Kyle was in this and he was printing on his Amazon short. Hope you covered everything, Kyle, before that news headline came in on Anthropic, but that's precipitated a nice move here on AMZN, up now 0.4% of the day, outperforming the NQ, which is down 0.05. So that is Amazon. What else we got? Meta curling in to the volume weighted average price, but rejecting that level as a resistance level. That's a second rejection we've got on VWAP so far. The first was around 1030, so Meta below 500 and continuing to sell off on the day. That Google headline, I still don't know what the hell that was. That might be Anthropic. That could have been a response. Do you know?
Well, I thought it was the Brad. We know we talked about the Brad Gertzer thing, but I don't know if that's what that pop was.
Yeah, no, that I think that. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. So let's just double check the Google thing over here. Altimeter. Yeah, you're right, Adira. Look, it came in.
Yeah, it just came in.
It literally just came in right now. Yeah, live on CNBC. Altimeter is Brad Gerstner announces bought Alphabet Inc. So there you go. What else we got over there? All right. Well, Tesla double top. Missed this completely. Tesla made it back in the high days. Where the hell was I for this? 181.75, double top. Right now, it looked like it got to 91s there on Tesla. Coming back down to the 10 period. Does it hold the 10 period here? But that's a great looking retracement, V-shaped retracement here on Tesla, but coming off that exact level that we got to earlier and precipitating a down move here. But do we hold this level? So we're putting in a hammer-looking candle right now on the 5. So let's see. Let's see if Tesla can hold up here and maybe trap some shorts. who got in at that high 180s, 181 areas or just in front of 182. We'll keep eyes on that. But Tesla completely missed this recovery there off the bottom at, I believe, 176.
Yeah, Tesla was, and it's interesting too, because I remember, like, I covered this one. Tesla actually rested decently on this second candle here at this 181.15 area, and then it decided it wanted to rest no more. But speaking of Tesla, we have Randy here hanging out with Sean. How are you doing today, Randy? Randy says sleepy. Yeah, I mean, it's midweek. Totally get it. I also, though, I agree with you, Sharif. I am watching this 180.60. But yeah, shout out to Randy and hello to Randy as always. Shout out to everybody on our team, always killing it. And also our podcast, we have a podcast that you should, I'm just drawing random lines in the chart accidentally. Check out the podcast on Saturday at 10 a.m. So definitely give that a watch and or listen. But yeah, so Randy chilling, Sean killing it. We'll see Obi and Sean again in about an hour, but Trader Revolution here with a super chat about VWAP, or not, I almost said
GCTS, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I said DWAP, then I said VWAP, and neither of those.
Because he wrote DWAP in it, that's why, yeah.
Thank you. I was like,
all good, you're good.
My mind. Thank you very much, Sharif. GCTS is pulling a DWAP 2021 move from 112 to 120, but they moved on merger news. This catalyst is different. Yeah, I mean, it's
distinctly different, though?
But yeah, we have to know if it's distinctly different, says Sharif. As per, of course, Obi, which is, like, honestly a great quote. There was the other one today, too. The charts are moving. Was that what he said?
Hold on, what did he say? Oh, Josh is not here, because I looked back at Josh. We're just like, what?
I think it's
the charts do things?
The charts do things?
He said something like that. It was hilarious. No. Randy. No, we'll get it. Guys, $7 on Elst. I'm flattening out. That's the end of my trade there. Happy with this trade. Not bad. VWAP dip. Go ahead.
Also, too, we do have the bond auctions. Thank you, 7-year note auction. Thank you, Dan Evans, for reminding us.
Dan,
we're going to have to see what happens here on that 7-year. I am in 2 longs. I am in long Microsoft, just trying to take this into 420.60s. Right now, it's kind of having a hard time getting beyond 10 pennies here. I'm just trying to look for this bond auction. And then also Boeing, we're basically at my point of entry. I have nothing to report there. Trying to, again, scalp that for like 25 pennies. So I feel like I've said too, my whole thing is I think I'm like a little bit too loosey-goosey and I let things ride for too long, and I cannot do that. That is not, not my style. Sometimes it works, trying to get better at it. Shout out as well to Kyle Burdett talking me through some of those trades earlier with Amazon. But yeah, I think for some of my scalpier moves, I have to remind myself, I called it a scalp for a reason and I wanted to scalp for a reason, so don't overstay your welcome there. Not seeing anything yet on that note auction, but if we do, we shall apprise you all. Also, Microsoft getting into where I want to leave, which is going to be that 420 area. If we don't bounce, that was my exit for the short. If we don't bounce here, I'm going to have to bounce out of Microsoft. But also, we do have our lesson coming up here. We're going to wait and see what happens with that note auction before we get to that. Jack saying nice trade, Sharif. So you're getting a little bit love there.
Can I mention Donald John Trump over here? DJT going yet again, holding that general, let me bring in the side charts here. That lower trend line held up to the T. So I actually didn't draw this right now. This was drawn before. And look at that, holding, well, let's not call it 66. It was 65.5. And now we just pumped up to 68. So the higher low continues to come in here on DJT, claiming VWAP yet again. So reclaim that volume weighted average price level, but all eyes will be on 69.50. That's where we crested out last time. We did that rounded top nonsense. So we'll see if we can break that level. Now, I don't know how I would trade this. We've been talking a lot about breakout trades, whether to take it on the actual breakout or whether to wait for the breakout to prove itself and then take the retracement. So I really don't have the decision yet as to how I'm going to trade this, but it may be moot at this point because it looks like we're retracing back down to 67.5. But DJT coming off the bottoms there, looking to possibly go again. It was a big monster yesterday, and it's decent today, up almost 17%, was up higher, was up more at the highs there. So DJT continuing to give good entries. Now, I know Adara wants to start with the lesson, so I'm gonna throw it to her in a second. But GCTS halted to the downside, 35.76, I believe that's the halt level off that 42.85 HOD. So a big retracement there. But what I've got eyes on now is CZOO. Reason is it just came into the 20, and we know earlier that it defended that 20. Look at that yellow line. That's the 20 period EMA on my chart. And it's also at that 10.5, 10.25. So CZOO giving you a retracement here. We talked about how we would get on this. And I said, I like that 9.25 level owing to these areas over here earlier at around 10.30, 10.15, then again at 11.30 or so. But it may not give us that level, right? It may not retrace that far south. So we're going to have to wait and see whether this 20 period ends up proving itself as a valid level of support or whether it's just another line on the chart, baby, and it doesn't mean anything. So keeping eyes on CZOO while Adara drops hot lines with the lesson.
Yeah, we just get that 7-year note auction in.
Oh.
4.185% versus the previous 4.7327%, so lower. Getting lower than the previous bond auction there. Yeah, we're gonna get that lesson started. I'm gonna leave these trades be because they're pretty much chilling here. I'm just going to set my out for Microsoft here. Boeing, we did get part filled. We have 2/3 out, and I think that last third should be out now. We're good to go. Yeah, thank you, much appreciated. Microsoft, you get your act together while I do this lesson, young lady, or I will have to send you to bed without supper.
What's going on over there?
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna get out of Microsoft just to alleviate the stress.
Adara, while you do that, I need to talk about IBIO because IBIO is flying. We dismissed this one earlier as a nothing burger. Let me load it up here. Sorry, guys. IBIO is going. It was definitely on my scanner earlier, but then it broke below the volume weighted average price. Look at this one right back in to the top above VWAP, and HOD prints a new high of day, $3.44 on IBIO. I gave the deets on this one earlier, but I'll give it again because that was a bit ago. 11.4 million, 11 and a third, okay? Million dollar market cap. The float, 1.989 million share float. Let's look at the short float, if any. IBIO. 1.71%. The float is a little different on here. It's about twice the size that I have on mine, 3.46 million, says Trade Ideas. So keep tabs on IBIO. But like again, when I've been talking about this range per candle nonsense, this is the problem with IBIO. The range per candle is really wide, especially when it gets volatile. And a lot of topping tail candles means that, is this easy to short or something? Do I have shorts available? No, so IBKR doesn't have shorts available. I don't know. I'm probably not going to trade this. It's too rangy and too wicky. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I'm out of Microsoft. Broke below 420. Cannot have that. I want none of that smoke in 420. And the pun very intended there. Evan 11, thank you so much for your 199 super chat. Just with the number one finger up there. So much appreciated there. We got out of that Boeing scalp earlier. I mentioned as well as we head into the lesson. Took about 20 pennies. Pleased as dang punch. I did have to be aware that this range was getting lower, so tried to adjust accordingly. And not too much bad to say about that. Joanna Brewster is saying, how does the auction impact the stocks? I find that it really depends. Sometimes we'll get a move, other times we won't at all. Sometimes it's going to move up, other times it's going to move down. It all seems, honestly, it really does depend. I find sometimes, if anyone knows like a direct correlation, please let me know, because I find even sometimes there isn't really any move. Right?
Yeah,
so if anyone knows a little bit more about the bond auctions and how they move, definitely let us know. We had a move lower there and we moved lower in the market, so I'm not sure if that was a correlation, but we will have to find out as well. Also, 420 Bud Monster coming out of hiding here for the 420. And just comments 420. So much appreciated there. Microsoft did not like 420, but we love 420 Bud Monster and everybody here in the chat. And I say that because Microsoft did break below 420.
That's not me hitting the bangs either. That's Ram back there,
For me, like she raises her hand, she's like, yes, that was me. Good time there. Let's get into the lesson. Hi, Ramin and Fabian.
Ramin.
So we'll do our lesson du jour here,
right,
which is about channel breakouts. Here we go.
Vamp it.
Just gonna get my notes right here. So imagine a river flowing between defined banks, just ebbing and flowing as it will. And in the trading world, price often behaves in the same way, carving a channel on the chart defined by trend lines. But just like a river can burst its banks, so can prices. They can break out of these channels, which can signal potential continuation. So let's dive into the exciting world of channel breakouts. So first of all, we have this concept of channels in the first place, right? I'm skipping ahead here. Channels are formed by connecting trend lines that touch the highs, the upper trend line, and the lows, lower trend line of price movement. And these lines represent two areas of support and resistance where price tends to bounce back and bounce in between. And there are actually three main channel types here. We have the upward channel, which slopes upwards, indicating a prevailing uptrend, a downward channel, which slopes downwards, suggesting a continued downtrend. And this last one here, which is a sideways channel or a flat channel, where you just kind of have a defined bottom and defined top. Boeing did this a little bit earlier today. I was mentioning that 190 to 191 area, right? But also, yeah, I like this chart because we have some examples. We have the up channel, which actually breaks to the downside. Down channel breaks to the upside, then that leads into another down channel, and then a flat channel, right? So obviously, they're not always going to manifest in this way or be so many of them, but this is just one example to show how they might move. The breakout. A breakout will occur when the price decisively moves through one of the trend lines. This will signify a potential change in the direction of the prevailing trend. So here's the breakout breakdown. Bullish breakout is going to happen when the price closes above the upper trend line of an upward channel, suggesting that we have buyers overpowering sellers, which could lead to a continuation of the uptrend. Bearish breakout is going to be the exact opposite thing. The price will close below the lower trend line of a downtrend channel, which can indicate that sellers are gaining control. They're trying to get a leg up here on the longs and hint at a potential continuation of the downtrend. So here is a rising channel. Shout out to Investopedia here. And we break out of this uptrend, and we actually have that move above the upper trend line, as mentioned, right? Downtrend, I love this one, and shout out to Shree for pointing this out as well. We actually retest the bottom trend line, and then we say, nah, and we continue to go to the downside. So I really like this example here of a break of a downward channel. False friends and true signals. Oh, I just realized the pun of this. Like, the friends are false, but the signals are true.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. So breakouts are valuable signals, but they're not foolproof because you can have fake friends in the form of fake breakouts or false breakouts, fake outs, what have you. And they can occur when the price briefly touches a trend line, but then reverses directions. So here's how to avoid getting fooled or hoodwinked by these trades. Volume confirmation. You want to look for a surge in trading volume alongside the breakout. High volume can suggest a little bit more oomph or more conviction behind the price move, which makes it more likely to be a true breakout. Price action confirmation is also really important here. You want to observe the candle pattern after the price touches the trend line. A daily or weekly candle closing clearly above the upper trend line, bullish, or below the lower trend line, bearish, can provide stronger confirmation. Taking action on breakouts. Entering the trade. Some traders are going to wait. You have to think of how you're going to plan this once you have your breakout, right? So here are some strategies, including entering the trade. Some traders are going to wait to enter immediately after the breakout, and some are going to wait for the pullback here. If you wait immediately after the breakout, you do risk a little bit more, but if you wait for the pullback, it gives you a lower entry point and comes with the risk of missing the opportunity. So it really depends on what type of trader you are. Both can be valuable as long as they're part of your trading plan. Stop loss, also really important here. You always want to use a stop loss to limit potential losses. For bullish breakouts, place it below the broken trend line, and for bearish breakouts, place it above the broken trend line. Profit targets. You want to make sure you secure your gains by setting profit targets. Look for potential resistance levels above in a bullish breakout or below in a bearish breakout to lock in some profit. So here are some examples here. I really like this from FX Open. We have this continued downtrend. So they give one example. You could enter at a retest here for the short, and this would be a successful short. You would set your stop loss at the previous high. So this gives you a range for your stop loss and your profit taker. And as you can see here, they show you a nice little risk reward as well if you take this, right? So nice look, and definitely, of course, always make your own trades and understand why, why the plan is the way it is. But I think this is a cool little demonstration and diagram there. And that's the last slide here, but we have some other reminders. You want to make sure to remember that channel breakouts are signals and not guaranteed because they can be fake friends and they can fake you out. Conduct thorough research, manage risk effectively, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. A bonus tip is to combine channel breakouts with other technical indicators, like moving averages or RSIs, for a more comprehensive trading strategy. Also, before I pass it over here, shout out to Comp SRX having this medium hot salsa with tortilla chips. Not something that I can enjoy, but I'm very happy that you are enjoying it with your lemon to the salsa for a nice zing. That just sounds amazing. If I were to have salsa, that sounds really nice. But yeah, I shout out to you. Shout out to everybody here. Know some mentions of Robin and Hood and Mara, so I'm going to try to take a look at those in a moment. What are you looking at?
I'm long AMZN for that 179 defend. We had that Anthropic headline come in, and it popped this bad boy up about 0.5 percentage point. The market then started tanking, so then we had that move down on AMZN. I'm long 06s. I'm looking to wet my beak at the $0.25. And, you know, if you're just joining for the first time, wet my beak means take profits. I'm sorry if we have these you know, adages and sayings and stuff like that. Yeah. Randy said that right now? No way. Randy said wet my beak. Hey, if Randy adopts it, then it's popular culture, baby. Ah, he hadn't heard it before. I see. Okay. All right. Here, Amazon nicely in the money now on this bad boy, looking for that print above the $0.25 to take some profits. It was an aggressive dip trade there on that level. Let's see if we get the print. We're printing 23s here. Come on, bro. Don't make me wait. Let's go. Well, we'll have to wait. Yeah.
I like that.
It's frustrating. Sometimes you just want to lock in the profit so you can move on to something else.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but in any event, that's not the way that works around here. So let me tell you about the futures trade, and this is why we precipitated, guys, that down move on Ram. Chart. It's all good. We precipitated that down move because we rejected 18,450. Look at all the wicks into 18,450 and then another rejection. So we make a big move down. Amazon tanks with the overall market. Not really surprising there. There we go. We got the fill, baby. Bang, 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 bang. Nice little 20 penny winner right now on AMZN. Still holding the piece. Let this one go for the dream. If we can come into higher days, maybe at 180 bucks, that would just be please as punch. We put in a bit of a hammer candle right now on the future. I'm not going to put too much stock into that because it's been very weak, kind of subdued day on the future. So hammer candles are awfully bullish, and I don't think we're going to be awfully bullish today on the future. So we'll continue to wait. We'll trade the strong names. I am more long bias of a trader in general. I do take shorts from, from time to time, but I find myself taking a lot more longs than I do shorts. And so, I always tend to seem to look for the strong names rather than the weak names. I know some other people that don't do that. They look for the weak names, not the strong names. And that's fine. Hood, sort, baby. Let's look at Hood, because a lot of people have been asking me about Hood, and we're going to do that now. Shout out to Scott H. IBIO going again. Shout out to Big Scott H. We don't have a name for Scott H. And, him and I have been talking in the chat for a long time. So, Scott, your nickname's coming up, my man, soon.
Great Scott? Some people say Great Scott.
Okay. I like your ideas. I think you get the creative juices flowing.
But you are like the nickname, king of this desk, so.
I like to give everybody nicknames. It's a very Egyptian thing to do. Give everybody a nickname. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Trust me. I have plenty of nicknames. Anyway, IBIO Scott, great look on this chart, man. Every dip into the 50, and I made this point earlier, has held up. For whatever reason, IBIO feeling the 50 today. Maybe the algo that's trading this is programmed on the 50. For whatever reason, it's respected the 50 very well on not once, not twice, but 3 occasions. 1, 2, 3. And then if you believe in the institutional prints at 8 a.m., well, that got bounced off the 50 as well. So IBIO, great look. Personally, I don't have a trade on it at the moment. Let me just look quickly what Amazon's doing. Okay, cool. The other one that I wanted to look at, we're going to remove, which one are we going to remove? GCTS, because we can't trade it. Let's look at Hood. Okay, Robinhood making a nice move there. Okay, the Katina man in Hood, baby, spinning the money. Shout out to the Katina man, staying true to his trades like he always does. Hood now breaking through the volume weighted average price, which was around $20, excuse me, and 10 cents. Now pumping, closing in on that 20 and a third. Maybe we see the $0.50. Technically, HOD, 20.55, but we were up way higher than that in the pre. We got up into almost $21 in the pre-market. Then the big boy Huadunk ended up coming in there when the whole market tanked. So good luck for Hood. In case you're wondering what's going on with Robinhood, they're offering a credit card with multiple benefits, and kind of like the gimmick about it is that if you refer 10 friends or 10 whoever, they could even be enemies, doesn't matter, you get a real gold credit card. Now, we have some questions about that on this desk. The Chilean Nightmare brought up a good point earlier. Is it plated? Is it gold plated, or is it solid gold? What kind of gold? Is it 10 karat, 14, 18? It's not solid gold. There's no way it could be solid gold, Katina man. But we can joke about it a little bit. The point is, that's the gimmick that they've got on the day, and that's why we're up. What are we up today on Hood? 5.5% today, and looking to break through the $0.50. It's a great day for Robinhood. I mean, they've been doing well lately. They reported better than expected trading revenue. Their trading volume is up because everybody's interested in crypto again. Deposits are increasing. They were doing that. Remember, they were doing that promotion?
Oh, yeah.
If you deposit $1, they'll match it with $1 or something like. Was it 50 cents?
Something
what
like
was
that.
it?
Yeah,
right?
look this up.
Yeah, they were matching deposits for a little while. Their trading, their interest income is still high because people are using margin to buy stocks, and you pay interest obviously on the money that you borrow on margin. So they're making money. It's a lot better than what they were doing in 2022. Remember that? When that was a tough time to be a Robinhood fan. Look at Amazon Go, bro. I did not even notice this, Katina man. We're at the $0.50. We're almost 50 pennies in the money here. Bang, 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 bang. Sorry for yelling, but I'm excited, and I'm taking that trade out.
Yeah, I also have an NQ long that got a little pump there. Pamp. I don't know. Yeah, we got a little nice move there. This was a planned little beat quitter here. 419.80s, just shy of 420. I got involved here because look at this base earlier. This is a nice little range, and I wasn't getting involved in how dare I. So I want to stay here. I would like us to decisively break above 420. That would be my look. But also the other reason I was motivated to get into this long is look at this. Oh, I said 420. That's why. Shout out to Neil. Hopefully having a great time in Florida to watch the Jays. So shout out to Neil there. Yeah. Also, some people were like, "Oh, like where's Neil?" Neil is still here. Obi is doing a great job subbing for him. Shout out to Obi. But also, yeah, Microsoft here. I like this kind of hammerish candle here, going down into not low of day, but close. And then we kind of wick right back up. I guess that would have been low of day. Yeah. And then we come right back up here and we say, nah. So I like that. I like the reclaim there. I want to see what we do at 420. If we break above 420, we're going to be getting out for, let's do like 420.20, because why not amplify the power of the 420 there, I guess. So that'll be the goal. Let's see what happens here. Microsoft break above that 420 with a viciousness. Also, NVIDIA, incredibly rangy here. Like, I love this. We have this base of 899.50. We have this top of 903, but the top is getting a little bit lower, which I don't love. If I take NVIDIA, it's going to have to be what I did earlier today and just do these super scalping moves. Oh, I forgot I had a resting order here set in the Tesla long, so I've got to go check on him. I liked this because I like that we had this kind of rest here at 180, very similar to my thesis with the Microsoft. We have a candle showing we're breathing after a bit of a downtrend, then we continue up. If we break below this 180, I am outie. Which is to use another car brand there, I guess. But, and you know, I don't know if we're going to hold because I just realized we could be rejecting off this 9 EMA. This might have been a bit ill-fated, but we're going to try to get, we're going to scalp this to 180.64. Because why not? I like the 180.65 level, but I also like to give an extra penny of breathing room because I do not trust these Mag 7s to land at the areas you want them to, right? Also, I agree. It would be nice if we had like a little like ding when you get into positions. But as I think Kyle Burdett was saying in the chat, if we have that for some of the, you know, the big desk trades, we'll get like these dings every second because, you know, Sean and Neil adding, taking out, scalping. So, yeah, I think it'd certainly be ding, ding, ding central.
Today maybe not the best day to ask Katina man, but how many fills? Okay, he's trading right now, so he'll get that back to me. But like a regular day for him is a few hundred fills. Yeah, 201 fills. Ooh. So you'd be hearing a lot of bells, guys, right? That's the thing about that. I've heard that suggestion in the chat, and it makes a lot of sense. And then you actually come to put it into practice. Anyway, we'll pass it on to the powers that be and see what they say. What else we got here, Adara? I really want to weasel my way into this CZOO trade, Rim. It looks really good here. I mean, we got a break of the trend line, right, that we had drawn. Okay, that's fine, but does it hold up above the 20? Yes. And how about the price action, that $10 area? Look at that hammer candle that dipped through 10, and buyer said, no, you don't, pumping it right back up above 1050. My only concern is that example that we gave in the lesson today where something broke down below the lower trend line, curled back into it, only to reject off that level. That's why you extend your trend lines as far as you can take them, because you never know when they're going to act as resistance or support again. So I'm going to keep eyes here on CZOO. It's been a really good stock that I've been wanting to trade. I haven't been able to weasel my way into it. I've been fixated on this 9.25. I may not get that on the day. VWAP now has moved up a little bit above 9.16 or thereabouts on this name. So we'll see. CZOO, great look on the day, but I'm having trouble weaseling my way into this trade. What else we got over here? HUD, okay, still at 20 1/3. We got Donald J. Trump right back above the volume weighted average price, but look at this, Adara, lower high, lower high, lower high. So it's kind of like the Apple look, where we had that big pump on Apple, a not so big retracement, and then an even smaller one. So are we getting that compression pattern where we have higher lows but lower highs? It looks so at the moment on DJT here. So extend these trend lines, you see what I'm talking about. You're making higher lows but lower highs. So that's a compression pattern. Typically what happens with a compression pattern is it resolves in the direction of the trend. There's really not a discernible trend on the day on DJT, but when you look at the preceding days, well, we know we got there. So we'll see. I'm more inclined to take some sort of trade above this high just so that we can have that higher high rather than trying to guess of which direction this one is going to resolve in, because compressing at the moment. Yeah, I'd like something above 69. If it can break above 69, maybe come and test that level again. That would be my ideal situation. We'll have to wait and see whether that pans out or not. Wow, there goes CZOO. So this one held 10 nicely and right back in. Okay, so now it's at the trend line that we were yapping about. Okay, so now does it reject off this trend line? And this is a good area to get short, right? If you were waiting for the short, now number one, I wouldn't short this because above the volume weighted average price. Small cap gapper above VWAP, I'm not shorting that. But for those who may want to short it, who don't have that VWAP rule, you break down below the trend line, the bottom trend line, then you come back in to test it, and that's when you get the short. I won't be doing that, but I think that fits with the theme of the lesson today. Anyway, let's flip back to some of these large caps, see what's going on here in large cap world. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot here, Dara. A lot of stuff is sideways or, you know, not really moving with any vigor. What are you punching in over there?
Oh, I mean, sideways. My type of trade.
I know.
We got into this NVIDIA. We actually, it's kind of frustrating. We got in and we held there, just kind of hung out. Then we dropped a little bit lower. I'm gonna give this a little bit more wiggle room. By wiggle room, I mean about $1 each way. I want to take 902 with the most of it, so I'm actually gonna change what I wanted to do here. I think we're gonna fall below though, but I need to be really cognizant. The true bottom of this range is 900. So if we bounce 900, we add a little bit. If we break below 900, we out of all of it. So that's what we do here on NVDA. I love this range, and the reason I got in here earlier below the true top of that range is because we look at these like little wicks to the downside showing, hey, we do not want any more sellers around these parts here at NVDA. We want to keep going higher, so that's why I like that area. We're gonna scope some of this out at 58 because I noticed that was an area of resistance on the short term, and then we're gonna save a piece for the dream. And it's a bit of an ambitious dream, but I don't think it's insanely so, and that's going to be just shy of 902s. But however, NVIDIA, you're going to have to stay above 900 if you want me to stay in here, you know, so you're going to have to see what happens there. NVIDIA, what are we doing, girl? Okay, we're staying above 900, so we're gonna let her do her thing, 21. It's actually a very nice bounce there, NVIDIA. You better keep bouncing like that. Also, we did not get 420s, unfortunately, on Microsoft, but we did get 419.96s. It looks like it's still running, but I just did not like that move back down. I said, Adara, clinch the profits. Well, you still have profits to clinch. That's what I ended up doing there. NVIDIA bouncing pretty nicely. I might actually have to do that reload that I was teasing earlier. Meta also. So Meta is also in a heck of a range right now, but I think we might be breaking lower. I did take these shorts earlier that I was kind of scalping in and out here around that 9 EMA. We're still down on the day though, because this initial short, talk about getting out at top wick. This is one of the most frustrating edits I've ever had. I got out because we popped up here, and then we popped right below. Like this candle is one of the saddest candles.
Yeah, that's bamboozlement central.
Yeah.
That you can't account for that. Adara.
I know. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, and I'm happy I got back in and took some profit.
Good.
But I see what you mean. Like,
so
I can't beat myself up over that, pardon?
So you had guts to get right back in.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You can't let the stocks beat you down. They're just numbers. And you are a person who wants to make trades. I don't know why I have motivation speaking to stocks, but NVIDIA bouncing back up here, so let's hope she keeps running. How are you doing over here?
I'm good. Have you pushed any trucks down a hill lately?
Oh, I know where we're going with this.
Ram.
Our pal Travis or Trevor at Nikola?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Nikola's having itself a decent day. Shout out to Igor. He wanted me to look at NKLA. And the thing we joke about Nikola is because they did push a truck down a hill, sadly. Yes, this is the hydrogen fuel or hydrogen, I guess, truck maker. They're trying to be that. They are delivering like 2 or 3 trucks at a time. Randy, any updates on Nikola? Anything good or bad about them lately? Anything? Nothing lately, okay. They haven't pushed any trucks down the hill lately? No, okay, that's all right. They're pretty quiet these days, okay. He follows them here and there, says Randy, but nothing that he's hearing too much about them. Katina Man says they can't find a hill steep enough anymore to push down their trucks off. Igor, I'm just kidding. You know, I hope you're not invested in anything here. We're just having some fun, shooting the breeze. But NKLA having itself a day. 7%. It's up to 87 pennies. It's been holding the 10 period beautifully ever since we reclaimed the 10 period at 11:10 p.m. We started off a little zigzaggy. We popped up, we moved down, but this has been uninterrupted to the high side here, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing nothing. Zigzaggy. That's the word of the day. We're low on the standards around here, but it's all good. No, seriously, I'm not seeing anything, guys, on Nikola on the day. I'm not seeing anything from yesterday either. I'm looking at the 25th. I'm not seeing anything from the 25th. I don't know, Adara, are you able to check Benzinga real quick?
I haven't.
But I don't think there's anything on Nikola to account for this up move here. It's been, it's been a beautiful dip trade off the 10. You don't have anything, eh? Yeah. Adara as well. Nary a headline. Anyway, coming into high of days, 87.80. We're at 87.84. I'm talking about pennies, not dollars. Igor, I got to tell you, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what's moving this, and I don't have a way to trade it. It'd have to be a dip trade. My level, though, on the dip would have to be somewhere around 83 or 84 pennies, and that is because of yesterday's high and this IB high that we had earlier around there. I just, the other idea that I would have for a trade on this would be a pullback into the 10 EMA, and I would take it with light sharage only because I don't see a catalyst. And Michael Noss would be like, so what, right? But Michael Noss likes to know that there is a catalyst, right?
That's true.
He just doesn't care about the nature of the catalyst, right? He just wants to know one's present. Okay, cool. Let's now look at the technicals. So NKLA doing its thing. I probably won't trade this until it does come into that 84 penny area. I do like that 84 area. Jay Lee, we really all want a Randy Auto Sector show, just like 30 minutes every week, please. You heard it here. The people are asking for it, Randy. I'm just reading what the people are saying. What else we got over here? Jay Lee again, Sharif, Sean. Yeah, I just read that. Thanks, Jay. I got you, brother. I got you. The Katina Man's got you as well. There you go, sir. Yeah, I mean, Randy constantly drops hot lines. Anytime I want any information about a car, the first thing I do is let me ask Randy when I see him at work. let me ask Randy when I see him at work. That's really what I do.
Yeah, he knows,
and we always shoot the breeze because I love cars and he loves cars even more. So, you know, a lot of confluence there.
There we go. I was not prepared for what was happening there, but I was like, oh, like I thought you got printed, but there was no printing. So I was like, but no, I think too, yeah, shout out to Randy. I know he and I were talking as well about the auto show with that, you know, that VinFast Wild, which is a really cool looking vehicle. I know Randy went to the auto show. Like I said, I'm not a driver, but I am an appreciator of cars.
Yep.
So it's always really cool to chat cars with someone who knows as much as Randy.
Yeah.
Also, Sharif has a lot of car thoughts too, guys. I will say, I want to like, you know, pump up Sharif's car knowledge as well.
Yeah. No, I have my, you know, my moments, but definitely not Randy level. And he is part of a group that maybe I won't mention it because, you know, it's not etched in stone yet, but maybe I just find my way into that group. Dara, have you had eyes on Fisker today?
No.
It's down 84%. So I was talking to Randy back there as well. Now let's bring in Randy again. I asked him, like, Randy, so now Fisker, you know, they're going concern. They're down to 2 pennies. They're trading at 2.07 pennies right now. What happens if someone bought the Ocean or whatever other car that they had and they have a warranty issue, they have a repair issue? Are they, you know, what, out of luck? Or is somebody going to pick up this, you know, the IP of the company, and by extension of that, anybody who has a Fisker? He's like, no, what typically happens in these cases is someone will buy it out from bankruptcy. The administrator will have, you know, there'll be somebody to pick it up there. And usually that company is the one that's going to service anybody who's bought the Oceans. Because, I mean, it's a brand new car. We already know it has issues, right? We all saw what Marquise Brown, what's his name again? Marquise Brownlee?
Marquise Brownlee, yeah.
Yeah, Marquise Brownlee, the video he did on it. Say again, Katina, man? Randy's ready to go, baby. So we're going to bring in Randy here. He's going to drop hotlines about this issue that I'm talking about right now. Wait for me. There you go. Dun, 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 dun.
And there's existing customers and a customer base, and they need service and parts and everything else. There's in the industry what's called goodwill, and this has happened with, you know, a bunch of different car companies before. The one example I can think of is when Saab, I don't know if you guys remember Saab, when General Motors owned Saab.
Yeah.
Saab went under, but you still needed that supply of parts and service and the you know, the know-how to fix and protect and make these cars still work. So they would farm that out to another company, Sharif. They would, you know, find a third party who would be able to provide what they call goodwill, and that goodwill, you know, would continue on just to avoid lawsuits and pissed off people and the whole 9 yards. You got to have industry goodwill, despite the fact that somebody else may not pick up the actual the IPL for the actual products, but the goodwill, I think, and the design technology is still there. Again, you've got a customer base. Cars have been delivered. So you've got to continue on with that, and they would find somebody to handle the goodwill for them. Maybe it's another auto manufacturer, maybe it's another service manufacturer. You know, it depends on how they structure it. But I would see some goodwill there moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Jay Lee was asking there, or Elon, I think. He's like, well, do they have any IP? Yeah, Jay, they've definitely got some intellectual property there. You know, it may not be the best because it didn't survive, and you know the market I think it's the best decider of who has a legitimate right to be in business. Who is it? I'm going to go back to what my old man always tells me: you don't have a right to be in business. The market will decide whether it wants you in business or not. Right? And I know that there's that whole, you know, philosophy and sociology and political science, but the market having its own internal logic and people having disagreements with that. But whatever, that's not my problem. What are we looking at, Derek? Because I think everything is super consolidative right now. I'm not really getting a read on things at the moment.
Agree.
Right? I mean, what do we got over here? Okay, let's talk a little bit about Tesla, because we're getting a 180 defend on TSLA. It was a bit of a V-shaped retracement twice today. Once from the bottom and now from the top. So we top out right at that key area of resistance at 181 3/4. We come down to the 50 period. Now we're doing the wick shimmy dance from the north side of the 50 period. This could be an interesting area here on Tesla if it can, number one, hold the 50 period and print a nice little retracement there through 180. 180 being that $10 level, you know, there's going to be eyes on it. So interesting area here for TSLA. I just don't want this to be a 10-minute couple of green candle retracement and then Huadunk we go, breaking through 179.75 or 179.50 on our way down, maybe to the volume weighted average price at almost 179. So Tesla has been, I would say, the least rangy on the day of the Mag 7 names. A lot of zigzagging here. It's both good and bad because, you know, you may find yourself on the wrong end of this trade and get wiped out. So I'm watching here. Tesla 180 could be interesting for me here at Dare.
Yeah, I tried Tesla 180 and I died Tesla 180 because I think it's because you're right. It wasn't that bad, but it's because you're right. Like, it is definitely one of those names that if you want a range, you didn't have it in Tesla. Unless you were trying to play this range earlier, which I got into too late. And then you had the really nice range of 179 where I had a meta-style bamboozlement and got out a little bit too early, but was really happy where I got out in the long run. But yeah, I mean, honestly, this long, all I can do is look at this and say, Dara, why'd you go long here? A, I clearly bought into a falling knife. Look at this entry point. And B, I bought against the 9 EMA. So you know what? All I can do, sometimes you just have to laugh and be like, laugh at yourself and do better. You know what I mean? For me, I think if we break above that 9 EMA, that would be a nice look as someone who took a fallen knife against the 9 EMA. That'll be my big look. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm enjoying some of these Mag 7 names, but that's also, you're right, because they're a little bit rangier. It's a little bit more my type of trade. However, I do want to talk about NVIDIA because I don't think I talked about this long, but I was pretty happy with this. I was pleased as punch. We got involved at this 901 area, and like I said, I was going to give it to 900. We bounced off this 900 beautifully, and I was like, wee! I should have added some, but I didn't. I was going to try to add it $100.50, but by the time I was ready to add, NVIDIA's like, nah, we're not looking back now, girl. You wanted your ad? Bye-bye. We're going to the upside. So I was able to get out some at 901.60, saved a piece of the dream at 902. So I was pretty happy with this trade. Honestly, NVIDIA is the name that I've had the most success with today. Right. And it's kind of, thank you, I appreciate that. It's kind of odd to say, but I think it's because with NVIDIA, I know it's so volatile, so I have very well-defined trades with very short time spans and very clear limits. And I think that's what I see Chart doing with all the stocks. I need to trade every stock I trade like it is as volatile as NVIDIA. And so, you know, you have to, in order to be in something like NVIDIA, you have to stay calm, you have to not lose your head, and you have to have very clear, defined plans. And maybe if I start trading everything like it's NVIDIA, other than feeling bamboozled all the time, it could be an effective strategy. So I think that's something we have to think about because I was really proud of what I did in this stock on a day that otherwise for me has not been the best. We're up on the day in ARM, we're up on the day in Boeing, with my little baby scalp there, but not very much. We didn't lose anything on Boeing, it just wasn't enough shares. But we're up on the day in, yeah, it was just NVIDIA, ARM, and Boeing. And also, I want to talk about Mara. Mara I got involved in because we get a little chop and churn. I thought this could have been a flat top break, but knowing that it's Mara, I trust it not at all. You know, we just talked about false friends in terms of those breakouts, and I mean, this is a false friend. It's a crypto name, and especially it's Mara, so I want to be really careful. I drew that 2190 as my hard stop. Why? Because A, look at this area we had earlier. We had a little reload of the long. B, look at this area we tested again. We go to 22, we have that little tail wick down into 2190, and the buyers are like, continuing to the upside. So I really like this level. If we keep bouncing off this 90 MA, I might add to this position, but I will be outie with the entirety of my position at 2190, trying to take some profits as we get to 2210, as we hopefully continue to pop to the high side, but I little faith in Mara. You never want to be on hopium, especially when you're in something that moves like Mara moves. So trying to be cognizant of that. Also, Microsoft kind of rangy here, but it's very. I'll show the 1 minute to kind of show what I mean. But it's very, you know, here and there. You have the bottom of that 419.90 of the top of 420.20. But again, talk about 420 confluence. You got it there. But it's not really moving kind of with the swiftness you would want it to for these 1 minute scalps. So definitely something I'm not going to stay in. I want to look at ARM as well. Shout out to Elon saying that ARM earlier was the perfect example of a breakout. And yeah, I mean, I definitely, this was a fun one to trade earlier, trying to take that flat bottom break, but it faked you out. You thought you were broken out and they continued to swoop to the upside. Right now, kind of continuing to peter up here is ARM. If the spread, actually the spread's like 7 cents right now. Do I want to take a 50-cent scalp on ARM? I do. I've decided I do. So we're going to deal with ARM. Mara, we're hanging out, and I have no reason to leave Mara right now, but I think I am going to try to put one leg in, or one toe in to ARM.
Oh, I thought you the Cybertruck. I thought you were going to say Cybertruck.
Oh, I know you're in the side. Or you were.
I was. No. It didn't hold my levels. Very small losses. I'm talking about 5 pennies or so. It had to hold my level, so it didn't. And right now, it's making lower lows and lower highs. I was looking for a 180 hold on TSLA. We didn't get it. So Wes wants me to have a look at MRDB. Mariadab? How do you say that? Mariadab? MariaDB. Yeah. It's a cloud database company. All right, Deets, $28 million market cap. Float, 35 2/3 of a million. Here's the headline. MariaDB shares trading higher after the company received an offer from Progress Software Corporation, trading under the ticker PRGS, in case you want to know more about them, to acquire all issued and issued share capital for 60 cents a share. So this is what we call a buyout here on the floor. The offer signifies a 216% premium to the closing print on the 5th of February of this year. I guess that's when the cutoff date in the contract was. Also represents a 9% premium to the possible offer of 55-cent shares made by another company by the name of K1 Capital. So there you go. There's the headline, and here you got the move. So this bad boy came in yesterday on the closing show, the recap show, baby. Make sure to check that out with the Katina Man. That came in hot and heavy there at 410. It shot up from 23 pennies all the way up to 60. It's been making lower highs and lower lows since that time, though. We are very much an inside day on MRDB. We're kind of ensconced from the high side and the low side with respect to the price action. But when we look at it on a more narrow time frame, Wes, it looks like we triple bottomed at whatever reason at 39 pennies, and now we're pumping back into 42. However, we don't have a higher high. We kind of just stuck looking at this 47, almost 47 and a half pennies, that double top that we put in there, and then we came right back in and broke VWAP. I got to tell you, Wes, I don't have a good read on this stock, mostly because it's a buyout, and buyout trading strategy is completely different than how we trade momentum. It's, I would say, more akin to range, where you're taking a lot of size at one level, you know, and then looking to make money off rebate trading, which is when you add liquidity into the market, as well as to take, you know, that 1-2 penny difference that you get with really big size. That's a trade that some people do here on the floor. Neil likes that kind of trading as well. So, you know, that's not my style of trading. I was never good at it. So I just, remember, chart. So I just got to tell you that right offhand. Okay, this is a buyout trade. There's a specialty type of trading called buyout trading here on the floor. I don't usually participate. So, you know, my levels may mean nothing to you. And I got to tell you, I don't have a good read on it. There doesn't seem to be any, you know, obvious areas of support, of resistance, even going back to yesterday's high, right? Like even the low yesterday, like look at this. So look at that drop yesterday in the aftermarket. So this is a trough right here, right? So usually that's a good level of resistance. Well, it's coming into play, or it looks like right now. So maybe there is something to be had here at 43 pennies. It's a tough one for me to look at, Wes, just because of the nature of the beast. But I hope you do well on it. Goes without saying, I'm cheering for you. And yeah, let me know how it goes. Scott H, watching to see if Reddit breaks out over VWAP and buying into a smile. If it does, let me know, Scott, what's going on with Reddit. I see it's down 10% on the day. I see the VWAP break, though, Scott. I see a 59 move here. So Reddit, a bunch of higher lows, let's say from essentially noon onwards. Reddit's been putting higher lows and higher highs. So let me know how that goes, Scott. Tag me so that I can see your comment. Jay Lee. MariaDB is a great software. Eating much of Oracle's lunch, FWIW. What is that?
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Thank you. It was overvalued in my humble opinion, but still a good company. Thanks for that, Jay. Definitely didn't know anything about the fundamentals about it. I appreciate you chiming in. Shout out to Jay Lee. David Stadler, Sharif, Adira, can we have your opinion on WBA earnings tomorrow morning? Thanks. Do you want to have a look at that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. WBA, which is weirdly on the NQ for some reason. Let's look at WBA. That's one that I for some reason, I'm like, why is it on the NQ? But yeah, this WBA massive flagpole here in the morning. Do we have any catalysts beyond earnings tomorrow? Was it? I know sometimes analysts like to give their 2 cents before we get the earnings. Could that be what's happening? No. So we had some upgrades yesterday. Or not upgrades. We had lower price target for Morgan Stanley and BofA. So actually the opposite. So it could be what did we do yesterday? Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, we'll just do the daily chart in general here for these earnings. So we actually had, this is our second candle to the upside here. But I mean, to say Walgreens isn't a downward channel is, I mean, yeah, I was going to try to find a way to say it, but it's just accurate. We're in a downward channel. Lower highs, lower lows. We're sort of at the local floor, right? We're at this area of this like 21, 20 area. We don't have very much lower to go. The only place lower I would say would be like 20 even, because we're just shy of 21 right now. 20 would be an interesting base. I think if we break below that, that could be a little bit dicey, because that was that was the October low. That was the November low. Weirdly, we did not have an October low for Walgreens. They were special. They did not have an October low. They had November to remember low. This massive pop to the upside, and interestingly enough, the top here, just shy of 27s, coming into that previous little bounce, baby bounce we got in late August. So definitely seeing some of repetition here in Walgreens Boots Alliance. I wish I had levels for you, David, but honestly, this is just a very weak chart. Lower highs, lower lows. I think if we can make some higher highs, that'd be a nice look. Specifically, you know, if we can break above this 21 decisively, then that 2150 is interesting. I actually also like this 22 area because we had that pop earlier, that previous test. But to me, the biggest level is going to be 23. Why 23? Because we had this pop here into the shoulder. We had a little other pop here earlier. I think this 23 area is good. But honestly, in general, it's really hard to read levels in a chart like this one. It's just down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. But less fun than that. Down,
baby,
down,
are you down? Yeah, you and I know a lot of the songs, despite the fact that we're big variance in age.
Yeah. Like,
you punch outside your weight class. I've told you that already.
Yeah, we have similar tastes in terms of songs we reference. But yeah, this I wish, honestly, Walgreens, David, I think the biggest thing is we need to make higher highs if we want to break out of this downtrend. If we fall below, look for support around 20s. Also, really quickly, I want to talk about my Mara trade because I was pretty happy.
Kill it.
And it's also not the type of trade I normally take. I got out of this around high of days, which is normally something that have me like quaking on my tiny boots. Like, we did go higher. I got out around 15s. We got to 18s. We pulled back. I said, Adara, if you get 15s, you'll be pleased as punch. We did. I got out some of this initially at 22.10s, planning for a reload. We had no reload. We only had upside here. Mara looking for a blue sky setup on the day, up about 9%. Pretty happy with this. Usually, like I said, not the type of trade I take. A, crypto name and they're really volatile. B, high of day type trade, but I liked the range and I got it on the range. I was happy with how it worked out. I still have a resting order in ARM, but I think I just canceled that because look at what ARM's doing. ARM initially we had 50 pennies up like range here. Now we've got maybe 20, and with the spread, it's just not something I can manage. So bye ARM. Not really something I can play with. Meta also interesting, but also a very spready name here. We do have these tops of just shy of 492s. Making to the base of this 491. But honestly, of the two of them, and I do like them both, this is the range I want to take. So we're going to take ARM short, or not ARM, we're going to take Meta short, heading into the last 10 minutes of how to trade. Also, I see someone getting into that beautiful NVIDIA momentum here as well, an NVDL.
Hold on.
Oh, never mind. Not quite yet.
Yeah.
Not quite yet. I can keep yapping here too.
I gotta get out of this trade.
Yeah, Elon. Yeah, I just went over those WBA earnings, so hopefully people kind of saw that. They're tomorrow morning, actually, not tonight. They're going to be coming tomorrow after market close. Definitely probably feeling a little bit of heat as well. Is WBA with that Dow Jones removal in favor of Amazon.
I just put 10 times the amount of shares that I wanted on that NVDL trade, so I had to get out.
Okay, you're all good.
Yeah, I'm good. But a good thing I did, I noticed exactly the amount of shares that I had there because it dipped down. So NVIDIA broke VWAP, guys. Did you have more to say before I go on?
Not much,
Okay.
No earnings, yeah.
Yeah, NVIDIA broke VWAP to the high side, so I was looking at NVDL, but I was going to give this super tight stop, and I'm out of that trade at the moment. But I want to talk about the other trades that people are taking. Reddit, Scott H, pumping it on Reddit. Let's bring in the side charts here, because Reddit is on the way up. Let me load up the side here. Let's get rid of Hood, RDDT. Yes, there goes Reddit to the high side, baby. And that is a nice rounded bottom. Shout out to the NOS boss. I think you've got a nice area of retracement here, Scott. If you can get lucky with this one, I know luck doesn't have a lot to do with it, but this bottom end area here that we had yesterday, that double bottom at 63.25, and it ends up being the bottom in the pre, yes, in the aftermarket as well yesterday, and a little bit of a bottom in the pre. So Scott, if this one breaks and holds above 60, I really like the look into that 63, 64-ish area. Again, due to these technical reasons, the double bottom there yesterday that we talked about, and that aftermarket low, as well as the pre-market range low. 64 was the pre-market range low. Shout out to you, Scott. I hope you print on that. It was accumulating aggressively into VWAP there. That's what you call accumulation, baby. Higher low, higher low, higher low, all with that flap top at that volume weighted average price. This could be a parabolic trade if it gets going here. Still down 8%. So, you know, counter trend trade, but that rounded bottom, the break of the volume weighted average price, we'll have to wait and see what we get here. Putting a bit of a topping tail candle into 60, but if this goes, it could easily see 63.25, 64, owing to the price action we have today on Reddit. So let's see how many days has it been since our IPO?
So we IPO'd last Thursday, so this will be its 5th day of trading.
Right, that's it. Okay. Well, good luck to anybody who's taken this. And yeah, let's see what else. Oust bouncing back off that volume weighted average price. So I'm going to get in on Oust. I'll send it to you.
Nice. Yeah, I'm getting in on Oust. So we shout out Sharif there. Best of trading luck. I did get short Meta, and then Meta was like, I'm going to pop back up here. Honestly, though, I'm going to be patient because I did get swept up in that Meta bamboozlement. And yeah, thank you, Sharif. I appreciate you kind of saying here, like, sometimes you get bamboozled like this. We got involved. It was honestly, the impetus for the short was not bad. We did have this rejection earlier at VWAP. We rejected at VWAP. I liked what I saw. I got in. It just, we flew up higher, right? I was considering reloading here to this short. If we break decisively above VWAP, I'm out. But honestly, you know what? We're holding pretty well here. We're going to add a little bit to this position because it's not a giant position. My thing, though, too, is I say this quite a lot, but I only trade during the midday. So once we're off the midday, unless I have like a position currently running I just want to get out of, I don't take any new trades, and I generally try not to hold trades because I have other things that, you know, got to get done. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get that reload. I think I was probably a little bit too late on that, but that's okay. I'm okay with staying in this. The one thing that makes me nervous, though, is I feel like we could be resting a little bit, and especially after that doji, and using this 9 EMA as a little bounce opportunity. That being said, we've been languishing below VWAP for quite some time. I have to say I would have loved to see that pop up and fail as confirmation had I not already been in the short. But I think to me, that candle, once I looked past, you know, my sadness and despair at losing that trade, I was like, you know what? Honestly, Adara, that's a clear confirmation candle that Meta wants none of the smoke above VWAP right now. So realizing that was kind of like, you know what, you gotta just kind of relax and be okay with that. So that's what's happening here right now for Meta. I'm gonna have to change my outs because I have a little bit more of the position here, but I'm getting this out. We're gonna get some out around 50s, and then some out. We're gonna save a piece for the dream at 30s. I don't know if we'll even have a dream to dream. We might be waking up a little bit early here, because it looks like we are getting a bit of a push to the upside here in Meta. But again, if we can't break VWAP, I have no reason leaving. And I really am trying to get better at defining my trades and being like, hey, you have to stay in. You don't have a reason to leave. So trying to hold myself hostage in the trades a little bit more, if you will, within reason. If I don't have a reason to leave, why the heck am I running out all panicked? So there we go. And as I say that, Meta's like, oh, here's a reason to panic, and pops up. But we're gonna see what happens with this candle, because I got bamboozled out of that earlier, so I don't want to be too hasty. You know what I mean? And then Meta pumps a bit more. But there's not a lot of volume on this. We're gonna try to breathe a little bit. If we break kind of back into that 493, 492.60 area, give this about $1. Gonna have to get out. Also, shout out to Igor Lil, having a great time here. Vin saying, Adara, that laugh, LOL. I don't even know how I laugh, but thank you there. Also, AMD still pumping, says Joanna Brewster. Not one I've had a lot of eyes on today. It is actually still trying to pump, and it's actually at that previous area of resistance here, support that we dipped down to at 830. 178.65 area in the pre. So let's see if we continue to push higher. I want to see what we do here, but that is clearly a nice area of support for VWAP. I am guessing you are long the chips, Joanna Brewster. So great job to you on that. Happy I didn't get involved in ARM because that range has gotten basically this thin. But let's see what we do here at META. We're pulling back down. It's 4 minutes left. What a day. You're in 2 trades over here.
I am. I like the fact that NVIDIA is holding at VWAP. I don't like the topping tail candles. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword with respect to this trade. I like the fact that it accumulated at the volume-weighted average price. It put in higher lows to get there, and then you have a break and hold above VWAP. I'm talking about NVDA, but I'm trading NVDL for obvious reasons, just to be able to manage risk. So keeping an eye on NVIDIA, looking for that hold above the volume-weighted average price, cognizant of the fact that it is a counter trend trade both on NVDL and NVDA. NVDA down 2.15, NVDL down 4.39. So keeping tabs on this one, also keeping tabs on Oust, looking for that VWAP hold and a curl back up. That was a trade we had last time. That's a trade I'm trying to weasel into this time as well. We'll keep tabs on this. How much time do we have left? 3 minutes. Wow, that was quick on the show. NVDL giving me problems still at this level because, well, it's doing the consolidation dance at VWAP. So it's not going to go in the direction of how I want it to until it breaks above the local high there, which is, I want to say the local high on this candle takes us into 906.99. Right, so right now we're at 905 and a quarter, 905 and a third. So we'll see exactly what we get with NVDL flat on it at the moment. Here, looking for that VWAP hold on the Mag 7 name. I'm talking about NVDA. Let's see what we're doing with OUST. Nothing doing here, like 3 pennies in the money on this. Trader Revolution, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. GCTS broke HOD again near 44, sending home profits to y'all. Love. Yes, we very happy for you. That goes without saying that we're always happy for any of the viewers who do well on a trade. Let's see if we can pull this bad boy up. We had Brenkels, the floor manager, put in a ticket for this one. No, it's still not available yet on our system. So we'll pack our patience. I'm sure we'll have access to it at some point. So maybe just not today. Right now, NVDA, there goes 906 on NVIDIA. Okay, so let's see if we can get that print. We're waiting up there near the whole dollar on NVDL. There we go. We got up into 95s, 96 I'm seeing here, but it's probably stopping in its ascent as, yeah, we're still doing the dance with no pants here at, well, near the volume-weighted average price on it. So we're not going to get filled. It's probably going to come back down now. Yeah, there is a bit of a lag here between NVIDIA and NVDL. Really? So, yeah, there is. So if someone can exploit that to their advantage, I'm sure there might be a trade to be had here. What are you looking at?
Honestly, now I kind of want to stare at that long enough to figure out if there's that way to exploit, because I like patterns, so that might actually be a project if I ever have some time. That's interesting. But, yeah. We're going to hope for an NVDW and then NVDL trade. We want to be saying NVDA to NVDA. I just had to get those in there. We have about 10 seconds left. I can't believe it. What a great day. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did in this wildly entertaining market. But for now, you're going to have to be visiting the Big Kahunas. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. For now, though, Brendan's at the Big Desk.
See you guys. Sorry, Fabian.
Welcome back in. A couple hours left to go here on a busy afternoon. I was just keeping my eye on Coinbase, reading a note essentially.